When they saw that, everyone from the Yi and Si families looked shocked. They were unable to withstand such a strong destructive force. However, at that moment, Yi Qingtang descended from the void. Her entire body was filled with an immense demonic aura. She swiftly forced the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline to its peak. Boom! Yi Qingtang reached out and grabbed the blood-red arrow, which instantly exploded in her palm. However, the force of destruction was absorbed by the heavenly demon-devouring power. At that moment, a trace of shock surfaced in Yi Qingtang's eyes. After she absorbed the force of the Eye of Extermination, both her personal cultivation level and the strength of her heavenly demon-devouring bloodline were elevated. Eldest young lady. When they saw Yi Qingtang, Bai Kuei and Taoist Zijin looked rather agitated. Yi Qingtang rapidly descended among the ruins of the Yunxiao sect. Master Si, Yi Ling, and the others all quickly surrounded Yi Qingtang. Tang, what's going on? Yi Ling walked over to Yi Qingtang and asked with a frown. A few days ago, a blood-red eye had appeared in the void. No one in the Yi family recognized the giant blood-red eye. When the Si family heard that the Yi family had exterminated the Yunxiao sect, Master Si brought Si Bai and the others in his family over to congratulate them. However, not long after they arrived, the blood-red giant eye suddenly exploded with a terrifying force of destruction. A large portion of the Yunxiao sect had been destroyed. If Yi Qingtang had not arrived in time, the consequences would have been devastating. Even Bai Kuei and Taoist Zijin were at a loss, much less Yi Ling. They did not know what the blood-red giant eye was. Yi Qingtang explained the sequence of events so that everyone could be mentally prepared. The fight between this mainland and central mainland's ancient tribe would soon cause widespread death and destruction. Even Yi Qingtang could not say for sure if she would survive. A powerful enemy from the external world has invaded? When they heard Yi Qingtang's explanation, both the Yi and the Si families were shocked. All of you pack your things and come with me to the Nine Knights Dynasty's Falling Sky Valley, Yi Qingtang said bluntly. This place was dangerous. Only the Falling Sky Valley, which was protected by many powerful cultivators of central mainland, was somewhat safer. All right. As time was pressing, they did not ask any more questions and followed Yi Qingtang's instructions. At that moment, Yi Qingtang was standing in the void. She was looking at the blood-red arrows that were scattered everywhere. A mysterious gleam appeared in her eyes. With that, Yi Qingtang started actively flying towards the blood-red arrows. These arrows of extermination could be devoured by her heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. Besides elevating her own personal cultivation level, it could also purify her bloodline. Yi Qingtang could not waste such a golden opportunity. Under the shocked gaze of the Yi and Si families, Yi Qingtang actively headed for the arrows of extermination. When she touched them, these arrows that were imbued with the power of destruction were instantly transformed into nothing. They were completely absorbed by Yi Qingtang. After half a day, the arrows of extermination within a radius of 100 miles had been almost completely devoured by Yi Qingtang. When Yi Qingtang reappeared in the sky above the Yunxiao sect, her cultivation level had increased significantly. Yin Yang perfected Lord 8th Heaven, Yi Qingtang muttered to herself thoughtfully. That's strange. I can't tell what eldest young lattice cultivation level is anymore. Taoist Zijin stared at Yi Qingtang in shock. Yi Qingtang had absorbed many arrows of extermination. The aura in her body had reverted to its original state so that her ability was hidden. Her aura now looked no different from that of an ordinary cultivator. Especially after the small boy had enlightened her on how to enter the 10th heaven of Yin Yang perfected Lord, Yi Qingtang's aura was now near intangible. Are you ready? Yi Qingtang looked down in the direction of the Yunxiao sect. We are ready. Elder Bai Kuei nodded. When she heard that, Yi Qingtang nodded and led both families in the direction of Falling Sky Valley. The formidable Heavens dynasty and the Nine Knights dynasty were far apart. However, the Yunxiao sect was situated in the portion of the formidable Heavens dynasty that was near the external world, so it was not too bad. Because absolute monarch of heaven, black and white holy sun, and the other powerful cultivators of central mainland were holding the fort in Falling Sky Valley, the Eye of Extermination had not posed too great of a threat. At that moment, in the public square of the Falling Sky Valley, the two children were following Yi Qingtang closely. They were unwilling to leave her even for a minute, and Yi Qingtang had no choice but to allow them to do so. "Qing, these are..." Perfected Xuanzhen's eyes were filled with astonishment. He looked first at Absolute Monarch of Heaven and the other powerful cultivators from Central Mainland, then at the Yi and Si families. Yi Qingtang did not hide their identities and introduced everyone. "And these are friends from Central Mainland?" Perfected Xianxin and the group from the Falling Sky Valley looked at Absolute Monarch of Heaven, Yin Yang Child, Black and White Holy Sun, and the others. They were somewhat shocked. In the first domain, Central Mainland was the mainland with the most flourishing martial culture. Also, Central Mainland's land area was hundreds of times bigger than that of this mainland. A small country in Central Mainland probably had as much land area as this mainland. "So you are a native of this mainland, how unexpected." A man in black armor looked at Yi Qingtang and laughed softly. They had thought that Yi Qingtang, who had obtained the inheritance of the Divine Phoenix, was also a citizen of Central Mainland. But it turned out that Yi Qingtang was from this mainland. This realization surprised everyone. After all, this mainland's reputation for martial arts was beneath the notice of the powerful cultivators of Central Mainland. They had not expected that their longed-for inheritance of the Divine Phoenix would be obtained by Yi Qingtang, who was from this mainland. To the others from Central Mainland, this was shocking. However, they did not discuss it further. "How strange, why is the ancient Yu clan attacking this mainland?" Yin Yang Child looked at the Eye of Extermination in the void, his expression perplexed. "Ancient Yu ancient clan?" When he heard that, Perfected Xianxin was taken aback. "Don't you know?" Yin Yang Child looked at Perfected Xianxin and the other local residents. But on second thought, there was no reason for them to know about this, and he continued. "The ancient Yu clan is one of the oldest clans in Central Mainland. They can trace their roots back for 10,000 years. In the past, an emperor-level tyrant emerged in the ancient Yu clan. He was almost a demigod, but unfortunately, 10,000 years later, the first domain's martial culture declined for some reason. The heavenly venerate-level powerful cultivators were all at their peak. Even the ancient Yu clan could not escape their fate and declined." You may say that, but it was not just the ancient Yu clan that declined, but the entire first domain," said a black-robed old man from Central Mainland. 10,000 years ago, the first domain was more powerful than even the third domain. However, the first domain had a gap in its history. After the gap, the first domain started to decline and became the most backward of the three domains in terms of martial culture, the black-robed old man said. "I think you had better be prepared. The ancient Yu clan is truly dominant within Central Mainland. Even the heavenly demon bloodline clan's domain monarch and his kin are unwilling to provoke the ancient Yu clan. Once their Eye of Extermination appears, the entire area will become desolate. If the ancient Yu clan wishes to invade this mainland, then it will certainly be exterminated." Yin Yang Child laughed coldly. The ancient Yu clan's perennial wars had extended to many of the more powerful mainlands in the first domain, not to mention a low-level mainland like this one. Even many of the high-level mainlands in the first domain had been exterminated and annexed by the ancient Yu clan. Now, the power of the ancient Yu clan was beyond estimation. Rumor had it that the ancient Yu clan needed a mere half a month to exterminate a high-level mainland. To Yin Yang Child, Black and White Holy Sun, and the others, if the ancient Yu clan wanted to exterminate this mainland, it would only take 2 or 3 days. When they heard that, everyone in the Falling Sky Valley turned pale. They had grown up in this mainland. No matter how backward it was in terms of martial culture or how low-level it was in the first domain, it was special to them. How could they bear to see this mainland exterminated? Their parents, relatives, siblings, and all their accompanying memories were tied to this mainland. They could not bear to abandon it, but now, no matter how they wished to protect it, they were so frail in the eyes of the powerful ancient tribe of Central Mainland. How could this happen? Perfected Xianxin was slightly pale. After he learned from the powerful cultivators of Central Mainland about how powerful the ancient Yu clan was, perfected Xianxun was desperate. It is not inevitable. At that moment, Yi Qingtang suddenly spoke up. Not inevitable. Yin Yang Child stared at Yi Qingtang. He lifted his brows slightly and laughed coldly. What do you know? Do you know how powerful the ancient Yu clan is? Yi Qingtang flicked a glance at Yin Yang Child. This brat was asking for a good thrashing. Fortunately, he was capable enough, and his father was fairly capable. Otherwise, his personality alone would have attracted enough enemies for him to have died a few times. Although Yin Yang Child deserved a thrashing, at that moment, Yi Qingtang was not in the mood to chastise him. The current situation was more urgent than beating up a brat. No matter how powerful the ancient Yu clan is, they are at most Yin Yang perfected lords in this mainland. Yi Qingtang's gaze swept across everyone as she succinctly pointed out the crux of the matter. When they heard Yi Qingtang's words, everyone was stunned. Absolute monarch of heaven and the group of powerful cultivators from central mainland all looked thoughtful. Yi Qingtang's words gave them all an insight. Before they came to this mainland, all of them were at least at the arcane supremacy stage of martial cultivation. But, once they entered this mainland, their powers were all suddenly suppressed to the level of Yin Yang perfected lord. Further, this power of suppression was the strongest just after entering the mainland, and they could only achieve the fourth heaven of Yin Yang perfected lord. As time passed, the oppressive force slowly weakened, and the martial capabilities of the visitors entered the peak of Yin Yang perfected lord. This also meant that no matter how strong they were, once they came to this mainland, they would at most possess the peak strength of a Yin Yang perfected lord. Even a god would be the same. So what? How many Yin Yang perfected lords does this mainland have when compared to the ancient Yu clan? They are on a completely different level. They will crush you just based on numbers. Yin Yang Child was still unconvinced. Yi Qingtang did not refute this point. Although Yin Yang Child was annoying, what he said was true. The ancient Yu clan's roots and culture went back at least 10,000 years. How could this mainland compare to them? When he saw that Yi Qingtang did not speak further, Yin Yang Child was rather amused to no one arguing with him. In the end, he frowned and said, I'm just saying that, perhaps there really is a solution. You don't need to be despondent. Yin Yang Child, you really have an irritating mouth. The man in black armor glared at Yin Yang Child and smiled coldly. Without his father's powerful reputation, Yin Yang Child would probably have been beaten to death already for his irritating mouth. He's right though, Yi Qingtang said as she glanced at Yin Yang Child. Yi Qingtang never deceived herself and others. This mainland was not sufficiently united, and it was unrealistic to expect it to unite against the ancient Yu clan's invasion. Now, it was impossible for Yi Qingtang to single-handedly withstand the invasion of the ancient Yu clan. However, if people on this mainland could unite together, there might still be a sliver of hope. Why haven't you left this mainland? Yi Qingtang suddenly asked Absolute Monarch of Heaven and the others. She thought that the powerful cultivators from central mainland would leave after obtaining the treasure from the divine phoenix's inheritance. However, they unexpectedly remained in this mainland. She did not understand why they were still here. Do you think we don't want to leave? The moment Yin Yang Child recalled the matter, the corners of his mouth twitched, and he snorted coldly. We don't know which wretch performed the forbidden formation on this mainland. There is temporarily no way out. This mainland was under the forbidden formation? A trace of shock surfaced in Yi Qingtang's eyes. For some reason, she suddenly thought of Ling Yan, whom she had not seen for some time. In that case, why don't you stay and protect this mainland? After a moment, Yi Qingtang laughed softly and asked. Impossible. Yin Yang Child immediately shook his head. This is beyond our abilities. We have no wish to provoke the ancient Yu clan. Yi Qingtang looked at Yin Yang Child and immediately nodded. She seriously and helplessly said, In that case, I shall not force you. However, the ancient Yu clan is about to kill every living thing on this mainland. Since you can't leave now, when the time comes, the ancient Yu clan will exterminate you together with this mainland. Don't blame anyone then. The previously fearless and disdainful Yin Yang Child's face immediately darkened at Yi Qingtang's words. How could he have overlooked this? Ha! The black-robed old man, who had obtained longevity from the divine phoenix, laughed. What Miss Yi says makes sense. 10,000 years ago, this mainland was created from the spiritual abode of ancient Yu clan's most prominent and powerful figure. After the dimension wall cracked, the ancient Yu clan naturally came to this mainland to destroy everything and take back the spiritual abode. Now that we are situated in this mainland, we will probably be destroyed together with it. Based on the ancient Yu clan's modus operandi, they would destroy everything once they arrived in this mainland. The ancient Yu clan would naturally ignore people like them. Now that they were unable to leave this mainland, they would probably be destroyed along with it if they did not fight back. The central mainland people were sullen. They originally came here to obtain the divine phoenix inheritance, but now, they failed to obtain it and were embroiled into such a huge crisis instead. This was clearly forcing them to go through life and death with the people on this mainland. At this instant, they ever so dearly wanted to catch the person who laid the forbidden formation and trapped them in this place. If they did not give that person a beating, their resentment would not be resolved. The central mainland people looked at each other and saw despair in each other's eyes. Even if they wanted to leave now, it was impossible. If they wanted to keep their lives, they could only fight together with this mainland. The reaction of the masses fell into Yi Qingtang's eyes. A smile emerged in Yi Qingtang's eyes discreetly, and she said, "Please rest in the valley for a period of time. You may also take time to think things through, as it is not a small matter after all." She was not in a hurry at all. The ones who should be panicking were the powerful figures from the central mainland who were entrapped by the forbidden formation. Yin Yang Child could only nod helplessly. Subsequently, perfected Xianxin walked forward and personally brought Absolute Monarch of Heaven and the rest into the guest rooms of Falling Sky Valley. Afterward, he settled down the people from Yi family and Si family. On the other hand, Yi Qingtang brought the two little kids into the room she used when she was a disciple in Falling Sky Valley. In the room, Yi Qingtang sat on the edge of her bed cross-legged and fully consolidated her yin-yang perfected Lord 8th Heaven realm. It was a pity that the attack of the Eye of Extermination had come to an end temporarily. Otherwise, if she could continuously absorb the energy of the arrows of extermination with her devouring bloodline. At this moment, the little boy walked to the bedside, and his big eyes blinked at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang immediately hugged the boy and pinched his nose as she chuckled. "What is it?" "Name." The little boy pointed at himself expectantly. Did this little fellow wish to know his name? Yi Qingtang looked at the little fellow, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. She had never thought of this before, but since this little fellow was so expectant, Yi Qingtang propped her chin on her hand and pondered for a moment. A smile emerged in her eyes subsequently, and she looked at the little boy. "From now on, you'll be called Little Luo Shui, all right?" "All right." Little Luo Shui nodded obediently. Without waiting for Yi Qingtang to say anything else, the girl walked over as well and looked at Yi Qingtang expectantly. "You'll be called Little Yu Yun." Yi Qingtang looked at the girl and said. Little Yu Yun was delighted and nodded repeatedly. Although Little Luo Shui and Little Yu Yun were born not long ago, they were extremely intelligent and understood human language without any teaching. Although their articulation was muffled, there was not much impediment when Yi Qingtang conversed with them. "Mother!" Little Luo Shui suddenly crawled to Yi Qingtang's side and patted Yi Qingtang's calves with his hands. Amazing! A laugh escaped Yi Qingtang's mouth. Before she understood what this little fellow was doing, Little Luo Shui suddenly pointed at Yi Qing uprightly and then patted his own chest. Yi Qingtang looked at Little Luo Shui's strange behavior and faintly threw a guess. "Could it be that you wish to be as powerful as me?" Upon hearing that, Little Luo Shui nodded immediately, and his eyes shone brightly as though Yi Qingtang guessed what he wanted to say correctly. He clumsily grabbed Yi Qingtang's skirt with one hand and Little Yu Yun's hand in the other. Prosect. Yi Qingtang finally understood this time around. This little fellow wanted to learn martial cultivation from her to protect her and Little Yu Yun. As she saw the tiny Little Luo Shui's fearless, and aspirational manner, Yi Qingtang's heart was about to melt. Alright, let mother look at your natural gift. Yi Qingtang grabbed little Luo Shui's hand, and a shocking force immediately enveloped little Luo Shui in it. Spirit root. Suddenly Yi Qingtang's expression changed. Little Luo Shui was just born, but his body already possessed a spirit root at such a young age. After inspecting it closely, Yi Qingtang was even more stunned. This little Luo Shui's spirit root was actually a purple spirit root. It must be known that on this mainland, even a blue spirit root was as rare as a unicorn, much less a purple spirit root. Yi Qingtang immediately inspected little Yu Yun. As expected, little Yu Yun also possessed a spirit root, and her spirit root was even more strange. It was actually pure white like a crystal clear bone. Even Yi Qingtang could not tell its origin. However, little Yu Yun's spirit root clearly had an antique and ancient aura. After inspecting it for a while, Yi Qingtang's body shivered uncontrollably. Yi Qingtang was utterly speechless for a moment. Out of the two little kids who were born less than 1 week ago, one had a superior purple spirit root while the other was even outrageous and possessed a pure white spirit root that Yi Qingtang had never seen before. Perhaps monstrous talent was insufficient to describe little Yu Yun and little Luo Shui. Yi Qingtang immediately reorganized her thoughts and chuckled at little Luo Shui. Mother teach you cultivation techniques then? However, it's a little difficult and you must learn patiently. As he heard Yi Qingtang, excitement etched all over little Luo Shui's face, and he nodded energetically. Little Yu Yun also hurried over and had a diligent, studious look. Yi Qingtang handed a set of cultivation techniques to little Yu Yun and little Luo Shui. Initially, Yi Qingtang thought that little Yu Yun and little Luo Shui had never come into contact with cultivation techniques before and would require at least half a month to slightly comprehend the techniques. Nonetheless, after a short hour, Yi Qingtang was completely astounded. Martial Qi Level 1, First Heaven. Martial Qi Level 2, Third Heaven. Martial Qi Level 3, First Heaven. In just this short 1 hour, little Luo Shui's martial realm actually advanced from 0 to martial Qi Level 3. Under the pretext of an absence of any contact with martial cultivation, he used only 1 hour to comprehend cultivation techniques and even advanced from Khanate to the martial Qi Level 3 realm. If Yi Qingtang did not witness this personally, she would never believe it. At the same time, a frightening martial aura exploded around little Yu Yun. Yi Qingtang looked over, and she was even more stunned. Little Luo Shui merely advanced to martial Qi Level 3 realm while little Yu Yun was even more straightforward and advanced all the way to half-step Yin-Yang perfected Lord realm. For an ordinary little kid, it would require at least 1 year and more to be familiar with cultivation techniques, much less advancing in martial realm. Yi Qingtang previously thought that little Yu Yun was the energy source of the extraordinary lattice spiritual abode while little Luo Shui was the reincarnation of divine King Luo Shui. Perhaps because they were the reincarnation of talents, she thought that they would already be amazing, monstrous talents if they could understand the techniques in half a month's time. Chapter 11 10 Little Monsters 3. Yet, little Yu Yun and little Luo Shui gave Yi Qingtang a mind-blowing surprise. Back then, after Yi Qingtang became a holy venerate, she had seen plenty of monstrous talents that were extremely gifted. However, compared to these two children before her, they were even more powerful. Little Luo Shui walked to Yi Qingtang's side and hugged her calf while staring at Yi Qingtang eagerly with bright eyes. Yi Qingtang stared blankly at the young boy. L11 The corner of Yi Qingtang's lips twitched a little. This child was not in the least bit cute. Standing aside, little Yu Yun looked at Yi Qingtang and little Luo Shui and smiled dreamily. This scene was extremely heartwarming. Father? Little Luo Shui looked at Yi Qingtang and asked with a baby voice. None. Little Luo Shui, be good. Let's continue cultivating. Yi Qingtang saw that little Luo Shui was becoming increasingly curious and immediately diverted his attention. After hearing that, little Luo Shui seemed to move away from the topic of his father and nodded at Yi Qingtang repeatedly. Yi Qingtang attached high importance to little Luo Shui and little Yu Yun's martial talent. These two kids had overly scary potential, and according to their potential, if these two kids could grow up healthily, they would become a true gut. Deeply afraid that something would go wrong, Yi Qingtang even looked for perfected Xianxin. Although Yi Qingtang was a holy venerate back then and had a few disciples, she was not well versed with imparting martial skills and was way lousier compared to perfected Xianxin. Master, how is Xianling sect? After calling perfected Xianxin to the study room, she first asked this. Perfected Xianxin replied. Falling Sky Valley's disciple, Mo Changkong, is the son of Xianling sect's elder Mo. As per your intention, Mo Changkong has already brought the Xianling sect masses into the valley, and there's no issue with it. Yi Qingtang's heart was finally at ease upon hearing that. Did you call me here for this? Perfected Xianxin asked curiously. Nevertheless, Yi Qingtang did not explain and merely brought little Yu Yun and little Luo Shui to perfected Xuanxin's side for them to display their auras. At this instant, the two kids were floating in the air and seemed to really enjoy this feeling. Perfected Xianxin was extremely shocked and dumbfounded. Little Yu Yun and little Luo Shui were only born not long ago but had already reached this martial realm. Afterward, Perfected Xianxin learned from Yi Qingtang that these two little kids only used 1 hour to be skillful at cultivation techniques, and one had advanced to martial qi level 3 while the other advanced to half-step yin-yang perfected lord. Unbelievable! Truly unbelievable! Perfected Xianxin was extremely agitated as elation filled his eyes. Had he not witnessed it for himself, he would not believe it. Master, although I am a young lord, I am nothing compared to you in regard to imparting knowledge. I hope that you can guide them by their side. Yi Qingtang looked at Perfected Xianxin and said. Perfected Xianxin flashed a smile and said, Qingning, don't worry. I will definitely do my best. With Perfected Xuanxin's guidance on imparting skills, the two little kids improved at a rapid speed. In just 2 days, little Yu Yun's martial cultivation had already entered yin-yang perfected Lord 4th heaven while little Luo Shui's martial cultivation had entered the peak of yin-yang perfected Lord 2nd heaven. It was a miracle. Chapter 11:11 A single spark can start a prairie fire. 1. Apart from perfected Xuanxin's guidance, Yi Qingtang also took time out to impart high-level mental cultivation techniques, swordplay techniques, martial arts, lightness skill, and remarkable skills to little Yu Yun and little Luo Shui. Even a genius would require at least several years to attain great achievements in cultivating these martial cultivation techniques. Nonetheless, these two little kids were monstrously gifted and only used 2 days to perfect these cultivation techniques. Perfected Xianxin proclaimed that he had taught quite a number of outstanding and gifted disciples, but they were worlds apart when compared to these two little kids. He even thought that he was dreaming as the speed of the kids' improvement was truly too fake. In 2 days, they advanced to the peak of yin-yang perfected Lord 2nd heaven and 4th heaven respectively and even attained phenomenal success in the martial arts cultivation techniques that Yi Qingtang imparted. This was probably the potential of a god. The martial potential of the two little kids was too frightening, and Yi Qingtang had never seen such a situation in both lives. Of course, in her previous life, a holy venerate was not unparalleled in the second domain as there were numerous emperor-level powerful figures. At this instant, little Luo Shui floated in the sky, and his bright eyes looked at Yi Qingtang as he giggled. These two little kids are too unbelievable, Perfected Xianxin marveled as he looked at little Luo Shui and little Yu Yun. If they continue on at this speed, little Luo Shui and little Yu Yun will probably be able to advance to the arcane supremacy realm in less than half a month. Perfected Xianxin looked at Yi Qingtang and said. A smile that was unbeknown to even Yi Qingtang filled her eyes as she looked at the two little kids. After hearing Perfected Xianxin, she shook her head and said, It shouldn't be. The higher the martial realm, the harder it is to advance further. Moreover, the spirit energy on this mainland is too thin and very limited. It is insufficient to support the arcane supremacy realm unless they leave this mainland. Perfected Xianxin did not refute her as no supremacy had ever appeared on this mainland. A span of 2 short days seemed like an extremely short period of time, but a great change had already happened. The Yu ancient clan came to this mainland finally. From the north of this mainland, all the sects had been annihilated and subsequently reorganized as a force of the Yu ancient clan. Its speed was so swift that it simply left one tongue-tied. It was at this moment when Yi Qingtang and the rest truly experienced the might and fearfulness of the Yu ancient clan. Yu ancient clan was certainly a powerful ancient clan force with 10,000 years of heritage. To destroy this mainland, they did not use the normal methods that ordinary people thought of. They did not even need to use their own hands and instead used another, even more shocking method. They recaptured all the sects and family clans of this mainland for their own use and used them as cannon fodder to block all forces who dared to resist. In just a few days, countless big and small sects submitted to Yu ancient clan and did not have the slightest intention to resist. Yi Qingtang was not surprised by this situation. The spirit energy on this mainland was already thin, and yin-yang perfected lords were extremely rare. On the other hand, the martial realms of the powerful figures in the central mainland were much higher than those of the people here from the start. Yu ancient clan was widely known even in the central mainland. They had a massive force and countless yin-yang perfected lords. Those sects had never seen such a battle array before, and the sects at the northern mainland had completely fallen to Yu ancient clan without having Yu ancient clan to do anything. In the next half a month, the northern region of the mainland had completely fallen, and hundreds of sects and family clans became the cannon fodder for the Yu ancient clan. Black and White Holy Sun chuckled in the main hall of Falling Sky Valley. This is indeed a common practice of the Yu ancient clan. They could annihilate this mainland and cause an internal war without losing a single one of their soldiers. Perfected Xianxin nodded. Following powerful figures was an inherent mindset of humans, and whether they would kill each other was not something they could consider anymore. Yi Qingtang originally thought that after Yu ancient clan came to this mainland, they would come straight for Falling Sky Valley and capture little Yu Yin away. However, it now seemed that she had underestimated the Yu ancient clan. Why are you worried, Miss Yi? You just need to kill up north. A chuckle suddenly echoed around. Everyone was confused by the voice and looked around their surroundings. Who spoke? Yin-yang child asked with a frown. However, no one responded. When that familiar voice entered her ears, a strange look emerged in Yi Qingtang's eyes silently. Others might not be able to tell, but the voice of this person, this voice, why do I feel that it's so familiar? Yin-yang child suddenly looked at Yi Qingtang, and his expression changed in no time. Ling Yan. Upon mentioning Ling Yan, Yin-yang child looked around his surroundings almost instinctively but failed to see any trace of Ling Yan. Yi Qingtang also looked around but did not catch any sight of him. Then, she recalled that the source of the sound seemed to be near her, and she remembered that she had a voice transmission stone on her. Yi Qingtang immediately took out her voice transmission stone. Previously, when Yi Qingtang and Ling Yan were in the dragon vein, they relied on the voice transmission stone to communicate. She never expected Ling Yan's voice to ring from the voice transmission stone again. Upon seeing the voice transmission stone, Absolute Monarch of Heaven, Black and White Holy Sun, and the rest suddenly realized the situation. No wonder they could not find the owner of that voice after looking everywhere. Who is Ling Yan? A central mainland powerful figure asked curiously. The central mainland was extremely vast. It had millions of small nations, hundreds of big nations, and even several big dynasties. It was normal for the talented powerful figures to not know of each other or to even not have heard the names of other powerful figures. Humph, don't you know Ling Yan? A prince of eternal dynasty and a good-for-nothing with no martial skills. Yin-yang child snorted coldly. Perhaps because he was tricked by Ling Yan before, Yin-yang child was full of hatred when he talked about Ling Yan. Yin-yang child, you have a grudge against that Ling Yan? The man in black armor sharply sensed Yin-yang child's strange tone and laughed immediately. Of course. Yin-yang child did not deny. You said Ling Yan is a good-for-nothing. If he is a good-for-nothing and you have a grudge against him, why don't you kill him? Given your skills, it should be an easy feat to kill a good-for-nothing, isn't it? The man in black armor said. Yin-yang child's expression changed immediately, and he glared at the man in black armor fiercely. Chapter 11:13 A single spark can start a prairie fire. 3. The male in black armor was rather baffled and did not understand why Yin Yang Child glared at him. Was there anything wrong with what he said? Yi Qingtang had many questions in her heart at this moment. If Yin Yang Child and the rest were not present, she really wanted to ask if it was Ling Yan's doing that the central mainland people were trapped in this mainland by the forbidden formation. After all, Yi Qingtang instinctively thought of Ling Yan when she heard of this incident. Yet currently, it was inconvenient for Yi Qingtang to voice her questions. If Ling Yan admitted it publicly, all the powerful figures from the central mainland, not just Yin Yang Child, would probably itch to skin Ling Yan alive. Yi Qingtang immediately thought of what Ling Yan said and asked, "Ling Yan, you want me to kill up north by myself?" The north was currently dominated by Yu ancient clan, but Ling Yan actually wanted her to head there alone. Could it be that she accidentally offended this fellow and that he was here to take revenge on her? Of course, if you wish to bring a few more people, there's no issue either. A faint laugh could be heard in Ling Yan's tone from the voice transmission stone. Bullshit. Yin Yang Child shouted furiously upon hearing Ling Yan. We are not going. Not only Yin Yang Child, everyone present was unwilling to head there. The northern mainland had completely fallen already. Wasn't it seeking death if they headed to the temporary headquarters of the Yu ancient clan? Yi Qingtang could understand their reactions. Thinking from another perspective, she herself would not wish to head over as well. Ling Yan, what enmity do you have with this woman to tell her to head to the Yu ancient clan and court death? Yin Yang Child snickered coldly. Clearly, Ling Yan did not have any intention to respond to anyone other than Yi Qingtang and did not reply to Yin Yang Child's cynical remarks. Alright, I understand. When do you think I should set off? Yi Qingtang asked the voice transmission stone a long while later. Everyone present was stupefied by what Yi Qingtang said. After interacting with each other for a few days, the central mainland people faintly realized that this young girl with alluring looks had completely overturned the old saying of an outwardly attractive but worthless person, as she was extremely intelligent in reality. But was she really going after that person called Ling Yan anyhow bluffed her? Anyone with eyes could tell that heading north now was no different from courting death. This did not seem like something that Yi Qingtang would agree to. Or was it to say that this Ling Yan and this girl had an affair? Otherwise, why would she have so much trust in him? Yi Qingtang did not know what the others were thinking. Although she felt that what Ling Yan said was unexpected, his judgments had never been wrong to date. Since Ling Yan said that, he must have some insights. In this crisis, she was willing to take a gamble. Moreover, she did not feel that Ling Yan would harm her. Just as everyone was still in shock, Ling Yan's voice rang from the voice transmission stone once again. Right now. All right, Yi Qingtang said in agreement. As Yi Qingtang agreed cleanly, a soft chuckle sounded from the voice transmission stone, and Ling Yan's voice sounded right after. Rest assured, Miss Yi, I will stay by your side. You just need to listen to me throughout the journey. There was no sound from the voice transmission stone afterward. Yi Qingtang's lips twitched slightly as she looked at the voice transmission stage in her hands. Stay by my side? By relying on the voice transmission stone? However, considering Ling Yan's skills, Yi Qingtang instantly felt that it was better for him to use the voice transmission stone and move his mouth. Qingtang, I think this is unsuitable. Perfected Xianxun looked at Yi Qingtang with a deep frown and said, We don't know how many troops of the Yu ancient clan came from central mainland, but it could capture the entire northern mainland in just 2 days. It is evident how scary its force is. Qingtang, the odds will be against your favor if you go there alone. Eldest young lady, Perfected Xianxun is right. You should think twice. Elder Bai Kuei and Taoist Zijin persuaded her otherwise hurriedly. However, Yi Qingtang had already made up her mind. Since Ling Yan wanted her to head over, he must have his own ideas. Seeing that their persuasion fell on deaf ears, everyone stopped talking. Bai Kuei, Taoist Zijin, and a few others initially wanted to follow Yi Qingtang, but Yi Qingtang rejected them. She might not attack this trip and perhaps was only there as a scout to observe the situation. Having many people would be a hindrance instead, and if they really encountered danger, Yi Qingtang might not be able to save the rest. Yi Qingtang returned to her room swiftly and was prepared to leave after packing her things. Yi Qingtang just left Falling Sky Valley, and the little white tiger was beside Yi Qingtang since God knows when. The current little white tiger was larger than before, and its fur was even more obvious. An inexplicable aura could be vaguely sensed. "You're awake?" Yi Qingtang looked at the little white tiger and chuckled. "Fuck you. What a nap." The little white tiger yawned and said, "Every growing stage, we fiend celestial beasts will fall into a deep sleep. It's similar to hibernation of normal demonic beasts, but after I wake up, my combat power will increase by a fair amount." Yi Qingtang sized up the little white tiger and nodded. The current little white tiger was greatly different from before. If Yi Qingtang fought with her life on the line, she might not win against the little white tiger even before it was enlarged. "You woke up at the right time. Follow me." Yi Qingtang grabbed the little white tiger and placed it in her arms. Although the little white tiger was bigger, there was not much change in its frame. "Where are we going?" "I haven't eaten." The little white tiger looked at Yi Qingtang in confusion as he was completely unaware of the recent happenings. Yi Qingtang could not be bothered to explain to the little white tiger and walked ahead with great strides. "Holy lady!" A few steps later, a sweet and delicate voice rang behind Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang turned around instinctively only to see Ouyang Qian walking towards them. This person was indeed Ouyang Qian, but the spirit in the body was the Blood Moon Elder. Initially, Yi Qingtang let the Blood Moon Elder stay in the Ouyang family and did not bother with him as she had too many things to settle. Yi Qingtang originally thought that Blood Moon Elder had already returned to Blood Moon sect, yet it turned out that he was still in the Ouyang family. Looking at Blood Moon Elder's glowing skin, it was easy to tell that he was nourished very well in the Ouyang family and was probably so indulged in the pleasure that he forgot to return to Blood Moon sect. "Holy lady, I'm here." Blood Moon Elder rushed to Yi Qingtang's side hurriedly with a face full of smiles. "Stay in Falling Sky Valley first and wait for me to return." Yi Qingtang looked at Blood Moon Elder and said. After hearing Yi Qingtang, Blood Moon Elder actually behaved contrary to his usual behavior and shook his head repeatedly. "Holy lady, you are heading to the north of this mainland? That place is extremely dangerous, but I am very familiar with that place. There definitely won't be any wrong to bring me along." Before Yi Qingtang could speak, Blood Moon Elder said again, "Holy lady, moreover, you should at least let me possess a powerful figure's body and go back to a male body. Actually, it doesn't matter whether it is powerful or not. The most important thing is to return to a male body." Yi Qingtang shot Blood Moon Elder a look immediately. Given Blood Moon Elder's position as the eldest young lady in Ouyang family, he would have returned to a male body a long time ago if he wanted to. Noticing Yi Qingtang's reaction, the Blood Moon Elder was a little guilty, and he laughed awkwardly. "Actually, girl or boy, that is not important. The most important thing is to become even more powerful and possess a powerful figure's body." Yi Qingtang stayed silent for a moment. After sizing up the Blood Moon Elder, her lips suddenly curled up into an ambiguous smile. "Sure. Follow me then." The Blood Moon Elder shuddered instinctively when he saw Yi Qingtang's expression. Back when he entered the Hell of Avisnaraka mystic realm with Yi Qingting, she also behaved this way before, and afterward, he, a dignified man, became a little maiden. "Let's go." Without giving the Blood Moon Elder time to think, Yi Qingtang grabbed him and immediately ascended to the sky, disappearing without a trace. "Too fast already." The Blood Moon Elder was pulled into the air by Yi Qingtang. The moment he opened his mouth, a wild gust of wind gushed into his mouth, and his entire face was almost distorted. The Blood Moon Elder was shaken. He had only been apart from Yi Qingtang for a while, and now that they met again, her martial skills had already reached this frightening stage. Half a day later, Yi Qingtang finally arrived at the northern region of the mainland with the Blood Moon Elder. Yi Qingtang slowly landed on a small island and cast the Blood Moon Elder aside. Yin Yang perfected Lord Eighth Heaven. The Blood Moon elders stared at Yi Qingtang in astonishment. Over a few months, Yi Qingtang actually entered the Yang Lord realm. Holy Lady, your martial talent is truly frightening. The Blood Moon elders stared at Yi Qingtang and exclaimed. Looking at the Blood Moon elder's stunned expression, Yi Qingtang was, however, extremely calm. Frightening? If Blood Moon elders saw little Luo Shui and little Yu Yun, he would then know what was truly frightening. Miss Yi, you should have arrived at the northern region of the mainland already, haven't you? Before waiting for Yi Qingtang to speak, Ling Yan's voice sounded from the voice transmission stone. Blood Moon Elder was slightly dumbfounded to hear his voice. Without explaining to Blood Moon Elder, she replied straightforwardly. I'm here. Miss Yi, there's no need to act rashly. The Yu ancient clan is extremely strong in discipline and planning. Before invading a mainland, they must have their own troops and deployment. You can understand the situation clearly first and inform me afterward, Ling Yan said with a chuckle. I think the same too. Yi Qingtang was in full agreement with Ling Yan's suggestion. To know one's own strengths and the enemy's was the sure way to victory. If they did not even know the basic headcount and troops of the Yu ancient clan and stormed into Yu ancient clan's temporary headquarters, it was simply seeking death. For the entire day, Yi Qingtang brought Blood Moon Elder around to survey almost the entire northern region of the mainland. Chapter 1116 A single spark can start a prairie fire. 6. After a day, Yi Qingtang finally understood the basic situation of the Yu ancient clan. From Yi Qingtang's survey, the number of people from Yu ancient clan who came to this mainland was not a lot, only about 100 people. However, they brought thousands of battleships over. For every 5 battleships, there was one general who was in charge of attacking each sect. The Yu ancient clan was split into 10 teams, and each team had about 20 powerful figures who guarded 10 cities respectively. The strongest general's team conquered a city named Sky Star City. Simply put, to completely defeat the Yu ancient clan that came this time, they needed to destroy the 10 great main cities of the north. However, the 10 great main cities were not far away from each other. Thus, once something happened to a main city, the surrounding cities would immediately provide support. After understanding all of these, Yi Qingtang could not help but frown. Yu ancient clan's attack and defense were perfect. As they possessed unparalleled combat power, they also had a flawless defense, sturdy like an iron plate. The city nearest to me is Moonlight City, and it's already conquered by the Yu ancient clan with about 20 Yu ancient clan figures. After a long while, Yi Qingtang informed Ling Yan about everything she found out. Miss Yi, I understand the general situation already. You can head to Moonlight City now. Ling Yan chuckled. Head to Moonlight City. Yi Qingtang was surprised by what Ling Yan said. For what? Start a massacre. Ling Yan's devilishly charming laughter rang from the voice transmission stone. Moonlight City had at least 20 Yu ancient clan powerful figures, but Ling Yan wanted her to head to Moonlight City and cause trouble for the Yu ancient clan? Holy Lady, what feud do you have with this fellow? Blood Moon Elder stared at the voice transmission stone and could not help but ask. The Yu ancient clan was an old clan from central mainland. With 20 powerful figures from the ancient clan guarding the city, how would Yi Qingtang start a massacre when she headed to Moonlight City? It was more like she would be massacred, wasn't it? Blood Moon Elder had learned from Yi Qingtang of the recent events and even about the extraordinary lady and divine King Luo Shui. He was extremely clear of the current situation, and even though Yi Qingtang was a young lord, it was impossible for her to confront the Yu ancient clan. Don't you trust me, Miss Yi? Ling Yan asked softly. Yi Qingtang was silent. Miss Yi, before waiting for Ling Yan to speak again, Yi Qingtang said forthrightly, trusting you it is. Anyway, Yi Qingtang had witnessed Ling Yan's intelligence for herself. If Ling Yan was set to make her trust him, she had to believe him even if she did not. Yi Qingtang was completely uninterested in experiencing being tricked by Ling Yan. Thus, she might as well agree quickly. It seemed like he had heard Yi Qingtang's speechlessness in her tone, and Ling Yan's chuckle sounded from the voice transmission stone. The clear chuckle tugged at her heartstrings. Almost instinctively, she kept the voice transmission stone and concealed that chuckle. In the next second, she brought Blood Moon Elder with her and flew towards Moonlight City. About an hour later, in Moonlight City, a deafening roar and combat sounds could be heard in a super sect. The Blood Moon Elder inspected the place for a moment and mumbled. This sect should be Shunchao sect. It is one of the super sects in the north. Chapter 11:17 Wrath 1. The Blood Moon Elder inspected the place for a moment and mumbled. This sect should be Shunchao sect. It is one of the super sects in the north. Currently, more than half of the Shunchao sect disciples were killed, and the majority of the senior executives died in the battle. The sect master and grand elder were still fighting with their lives. Numerous black-robed middle-aged people with Yu stitched on their sleeves seemed to be killing the Shunchao sect people in an overpowering manner. Submit to you, ancient clan, and you'll live. Resist you, ancient clan, and you'll die. One of the black-robed men said in a low voice as he scanned the surroundings with eyes devoid of emotion. Grand Elder. Sectmaster, save me, help. No, some you ancient clan disciples used violent means to rip the clothes of the Shunchao sect female disciples and smiled lustfully. Are you all still human? How dare you all permit those young ones to do such atrocious things? An elderly from Shunchao sect yelled furiously upon seeing the scene, and a vein popped up on his forehead. Oh! One of the black-robed men said with an indifferent expression, kindness is for humans. Lowly ants of this mainland like you all are not considered humans to us. It is a blessing of your female disciples to be able to relieve the stress of my you ancient clan disciples. Father, save me, save me. One of the Shunchao sect female disciples' clothes were torn apart, and her fair skin was exposed. She shivered in the face of the brute gaze of the Yu ancient clan disciple before her as she desperately shouted to one of the sect elders in despair. Bastards, let go of my daughter. That Shunchao sect elder hollered furiously and unsheathed his sword before slashing down at the Yu ancient clan disciples swiftly. Old thing, you're courting death. Noticing the situation, the Yu ancient clan disciple scoffed and stuck a palm out as he spoke. The air pressure from that strike instantly beheaded that Shunchao sect elder. Father! The female disciple whose clothes were ripped apart was dumbstruck, and she screamed in grief. These bastards! Even if I die, I will not let you all have your way. The female disciple's face was as white as a sheet, and she bit her tongue instantly. Then, her complexion turned ghastly white, and blood seeped out from the corner of her lips. She collapsed on the ground instantly. That you ancient clan disciple scoffed at the situation. What a damn spoil of fun. Afterward, he stuck his leg out and kicked that Shunchao sect female disciple's body dozens of meters away, forming an arc in the air before crashing into a pillar within the sect, which shattered into pieces. Looking at the female disciple's body again, it was already dismembered to pieces. Ah! The Shunchao sect disciples were in great despair after witnessing the sight. The skills of these people were too scary. While Shunchao sect was a super sect, they almost had no ability to retaliate in the face of these Yu ancient clan figures. You bastards! Shunchao sect master clenched his fists tightly and gritted his teeth but was extremely powerless. You don't know how to appreciate favors, one of the Yu ancient clan black-robed elderly said coldly. Kill all the men in this sect and bring the females away. The black-robed elderly ordered immediately. The Yu ancient clan disciples at the scene howled excitedly upon hearing that. No, please, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Shunchao sect's female disciples were extremely tragic. Some tough female disciples knew what kind of torture they would face in the future and suicided at the scene while more than half of the men were slaughtered in a flash. At this instant, Blood Moon Elder personally witnessed the hell-like scene and was stunned. This is the central mainland ancient clan style of work? Blood Moon Elder simply could not understand how such a ruthless ancient clan could survive until now and even had an inheritance of 10,000 years. Were they still human? Even calling them beasts was an insult to beasts. Even Blood Moon sect, who was known by this mainland to be the heterodox evil cult, had never done such shameless and low-down things. Yi Qingtang narrowed her eyes. Looking at the tragic sight, the miserable cries echoed in her ears, and all warmth had drained from her eyes. It was not the first time Yi Qingtang witnessed such extreme bullying of the weak. Wars between a high-level mainland and a low-level mainland had always been this way. In her previous life, Yi Qingtang once participated in a war between mainlands before and had seen plenty of such incidents. Just as that black-robed man from Yu ancient clan had said, kindness was for humans. If it was warfare between the forces of the central mainland, such things definitely would not happen. However, it was different when a high-level mainland warred against a low-level mainland. The superiority complex of people at high-level mainlands would make it so that they would never treat the cultivators of low-level mainlands as humans. In the eyes of these high-level mainlands cultivators, the low-level mainlands cultivators were no different from pigs or dogs. Slaughter or humiliate, they would not be guilt-ridden. This was the evil nature of humans. Despair enshrouded the entire Shenqiao sect. Looking at the devastating sight before his eyes, Shenqiao sect Grand Elder was pale as despair had almost drowned him completely. In despair, the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder could only pray to the heavens for a miracle to befall. However, when Shenqiao sect Grand Elder looked at the sky, his eyes coincidentally spotted Yi Qingtang, who was in the sky. Young Lord. Shenqiao sect Grand Elder was shaken for that moment. He clearly sensed the aura around Yi Qingtang that she accidentally revealed. That overbearing energy caused the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder to wince, and a trace of hope appeared in his eyes. Please. I'm begging you, young lord. Please do something and save us. In his despair, the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder seemed to have found a straw to clutch at and immediately kneeled to Yi Qingtang. Although the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder did not think that a young lord would be willing to interfere in this matter, this was his last hope. Even if she could only protect these Shenqiao sect disciples, it was also fine. Swoosh. Almost at the same time when the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder kneeled down, Yi Qingtang's body turned into a flash of shadow and disappeared from the sky. When she appeared once again, she was already within Shenqiao sect. Her cold eyes swept across the hell-like scene before her, and the coldness in her eyes seemed to be able to freeze the air in her surroundings. In the next second, Yi Qingtang suddenly took a step forward, and her floating figure directly arrived beside a Shenqiao sect female disciple who was about to be humiliated. That lattice eyes were filled with fear. When she saw that the person who appeared before her was actually an exceedingly beautiful lady, she grabbed onto the edge of Yi Qingtang's clothes tightly. Save me. Chapter 11:19 Wrath 3. Who are you? How dare you poke your nose around? A Yu ancient clan disciple shot a cold look at Yi Qingtang, who suddenly appeared. When he noticed Yi Qingtang's stunning beauty, a vile expression flashed across his eyes. Do you also treat your mother this way? There was no expression on Yi Qingtang's face as she glanced at the Yu ancient clan disciple coldly. That Yu ancient clan disciple's face darkened immediately. With a sharp clank, he unsheathed his sword and wanted to slash at Yi Qingtang. I think you're tired of living. Swoosh. However, just as that Yu ancient clan was about to slash down, a gleam suddenly flashed by. Before he could come to his senses, blood spouted out from his neck. The man's body collapsed on the ground lifelessly and convulsed as blood gushed out from his neck. Most likely, even when he died, he still did not understand when exactly he was injured. The Shenqiao sect people were dumbstruck. This lady who appeared from nowhere was actually so decisive in killing and killed a Yu ancient clan disciple in an instant. The Shenqiao sect female disciple who was previously tugging onto Yi Qingtang's clothes tightly widened her eyes in confusion. There was no emotion on Yi Qingtang's face. She glanced across the scene coldly and immediately noticed that many of the Yu ancient clan disciples were around Yin Yang perfected Lord Fourth Heaven realm, while those senior executives in black robes had not entered the Yang Lord realm either. Logically speaking, the Yu ancient clan disciples should at least be in the arcane supremacy realm, and the senior executives should be in the divine arcane supremacy realm. Even after entering this mainland, their martial skills would not be as weak as this. Yi Qingtang's instant kill of a Yu ancient clan disciple caught the attention of the Yu ancient clan people. Lord, the black-robed elderlies from Yu ancient clan saw Yi Qingtang, who suddenly appeared, and frowned deeply. Let's go! After sensing Yi Qingtang's skills, one of the black-robed elderlies immediately waved a hand and wanted to command the Yu ancient clan members to leave. At this instant, Ling Yan's voice sounded from the voice transmission stone again. Miss Yi, tear the weed out by the roots so that it can never grow again. Without Ling Yan's reminder, Yi Qingtang also understood this logic. Although it was unknown as to why those senior executives of Yu ancient clan had not reached the Yang Lord realm, this was an opportunity not to be missed to Yi Qingtang. You wish to leave? Yi Qingtang's cold voice was heard. The moment she spoke, an overbearing Yang Lord aura filled the air instantly and enshrouded the Yu ancient clan figures in it. It sealed the entire Shenqiao sect completely and did not give the Yu ancient clan members any chance to escape. Who dares to go against the Yu ancient clan? A black-robed elderly roared furiously. Yi Qingtang cast a cold look at that black-robed elderly and slashed her sword across without giving him any response. Sensing the might from the Yang Lord's strike, everyone was horrified and could not help but retreat backward. Under Yi Qingtang's slash, dozens of Yu ancient clan disciples were slaughtered on the spot while a few black-robed elderlies fled in all directions and riskily avoided the blow. Chapter 11:20 Kill 1. The black-robed elderlies were in the arcane supremacy realm in central mainland, but after coming to this mainland, their current martial skill realm was around Yin Yang perfected Lord's 6th heaven, and they were definitely no match for Yi Qingtang, a Yin Yang perfected Lord 8th heaven. In just a few rounds, 2 black-robed elderlies were already killed by Yi Qingtang. These condescending ancient clan figures would not have thought that they would ultimately die in the hands of a small Yang Lord when they merely invaded a low-level mainland. Anyone who kills or injures a member of the Yu ancient clan must face dire consequences. You will be banished to the underworld and be suppressed for eternity. One of the black-robed elderlies glared at Yi Qingtang furiously. Killing one is a crime while slaying 100 is considered heroic. After I kill everyone from your Yu ancient clan, who else can banish me to the underworld? Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered as she spoke. It was as though the surrounding air froze. The Shenqiao sect disciples and senior executives were extremely agitated and cheered continuously. Did they really think that our mainland does not have anyone powerful? These invaders are so arrogant in our land, but aren't they still going to be killed by a Yang Lord in the end? Long live Yang Lord! Kill all these bastards! Yang Lord, after these bastards came to the north, they exterminated every being and killed all the citizens in Sky Star City. Many Shenqiao sect senior executives shouted. How hateful! The remaining black-robed elderlies gritted their teeth. If they were in the outside world, this bullshit Yang Lord would be easily killed by the impact of their auras. If only our battleships carrying our water supply were not exploded by someone. A black-robed elderly's expression was extremely grim. They originally prepared sufficient food and water when they came from central mainland to this low-level mainland. However, halfway throughout their journey, their battleships storing water suddenly exploded for some reason. Afterward, the Yu ancient clan gathered water from nearby, but unexpectedly, almost all the water sources were poisoned. As such, after entering this mainland, their martial realms were severely suppressed and returned very slowly. The Blood Moon Elder who had been following Yi Qingtang heard her bold words and was encouraged. He immediately walked forward and scoffed at the Yu ancient clan people. You need to pay a corresponding price for doing evil on our mainland. He could not lose his Blood Moon sect demeanor before his holy lady. Just as the Blood Moon Elder was about to speak, Yi Qingtang had already turned into a flash of shadow and charged towards the remaining black-robed men. Currently, the black-robed men who were only at Yin Yang perfected Lord's 6th heaven realm could not block Yi Qingtang's attack. Chapter 11:21 Kill 2 Shenqiao sect Grand Elder's eyes were filled with respect. What do we do next? Yi Qingtang suddenly asked softly. Young Lord, we don't know what to do either. The Shunshao sect Grand Elder was stunned. Yi Qingtang rubbed her temples and said helplessly, I was not asking you. Before the Shunshao sect Grand Elder spoke again, Ling Yan's soft chuckle sounded from the voice transmission stone. Miss Yi, you can let all these people leave. Upon hearing that, Yi Qingtang nodded and had an idea in mind. This place is not safe to stay for long. All of you should set off for Falling Sky Valley in the Nine Knights dynasty immediately. Yi Qingtang looked at the Shunshao sect Grand Elder and Sect Master and said, Shunshao sect Grand Elder did not have any objections to a young lord's words and immediately agreed without asking for the reason. Now, we can completely destroy this city. Ling Yan's chuckle came from the voice transmission stone. Yi Qingtang nodded and stored her voice transmission stone. She first removed the space rings from the Yu ancient clan people before leaving. Given Yi Qingtang's current skills, it was impossible for her to open the space rings of those black-robed men. However, those disciple space rings stored many black-grade weapons and rare treasures. As Yi Qingtang walked around Sky Star's city, the huge city was lifeless as though it had become a dead city. Swoosh! At this instant, more than 10 Yu ancient clan senior executives flew in all directions and surrounded Yi Qingtang. Scumbag, how dare you kill a Yu ancient clan member? The leading black-robed elderly looked at Yi Qingtang and hollered furiously. I did not look for you all, but you all came to court your death on your own accord. Yi Qingtang swept across the people and snickered. Lord, after sensing Yi Qingtang's aura, the black-robed elderlies looked at each other with shocked expressions. How could Sky Star's city of this low-level mainland have a young lord? They had already checked that the northern region of this low-level mainland had no young lords. This was also why they chose to invade this low-level mainland from the north and then swallow the entire piece of land once their skills increased to the peak of young lord. Fuck you. Let me have some exercise. The little white tiger shuttled out from Yi Qingtang's embrace and instantly leaped out like a white bolt of lightning. Before everyone realized what had happened, the neck of one of the black-robed elderlies was already bitten apart by the little white tiger. Yi Qingtang was uncertain about the exact combat power of the little white tiger after waking up, but she could be sure that if she fought all out with the little white tiger, she might not win against the little white tiger steadily. Of course, these Yu ancient clan senior executives were no match for the little white tiger as well. In no time, at least 7 people were killed by the little white tiger tragically. Quick, call Elder Enifo. A black-robed elderly exclaimed immediately. Elder Enifo of Yu ancient clan was guarding a city nearby Sky Star City. As long as Elder Enifo came over, everyone would die regardless of young lord or not. Miss Yi, it's about time. Ling Yan's voice could be heard. Chapter 11:22 Kill 3. Without waiting for Yi Qingtang to speak, a black-robed elderly heard Ling Yan's voice, and his expression changed instantly. Eternal dynasties. Ling Yan. Ling Yan's devilish laughter sounded. You ancient clan, nice to meet you all. Wait, on our way here, I saw a battleship from Eternal Dynasty. The black-robed elderly frowned deeply. Could it be that you were the one who sent people to destroy our water supply? That seems to be the case. If I've caused any troubles to you all, I'm extremely sorry, Ling Yan said with a soft chuckle. The Yu ancient clan senior executives were infuriated. They had no feud with Eternal Dynasty, yet this Ling Yan secretly sent people to guard the route that they would definitely pass by and destroy their battleships that carried their water supply. Had their battleships not be destroyed, how would their skills return so slowly? Could it be that Yu ancient clan senior executives' expression changed greatly? Are all the water sources nearby poisoned by you? Yes. Ling Yan laughed. Your water supplies were destroyed, and you all will have to search for new water sources. I laced poison in all 123 water sources in the surroundings. Unless all of you powerful figures don't need to consume water, it is definite that you all will be poisoned. There's no other way out. Ling Yan, you are so evil. What feud does our Yu ancient clan have with you? A black-robed elderly shouted furiously. Feud? There's none, replied Ling Yan. Since there's no feud at all, why do you want to lay a trap and harm us? The black-robed elderly had a dark expression. Why? Ling Yan laughed coldly. Of course it's because you all caused Miss Yi to feel troubled. Yi Qingtang was stunned by what Ling Yan said. Ling Yan, what does your eternal dynasty count as? Eternal dynasty will definitely be annihilated after offending you, ancient clan. You will regret this. The black-robed elderly was enraged. However, Ling Yan laughed and said, I'll thank you all in advance then. I am being excluded by the imperial power in Eternal Dynasty. If you ancient clan is willing to clean up and even annihilate the Eternal Dynasty for me, that would be the best. The ancient clan senior executives were flushed. They were actually fooled by a prince of the Eternal Dynasty. Miss Yi, if you're not going to attack now, then when will you? Ling Yan said suddenly. Aren't you chatting happily with them? I didn't wish to disturb. Yi Qingtang shot a look at the voice transmission stone. No matter how much I talk to others, it cannot be compared to half a sentence with you. Ling Yan chuckled. Shen Qianshu stared blankly at the voice transmission stone. Why can this Ling Yan continue on with any topic? Did he mean that? Without uttering another word, Yi Qingtang activated the black-grade weapon in her hand and slashed the remaining black-robed elderlies. Yi Qingtang joined forces with the little white tiger, and in no time, everyone from the Yu ancient clan in Sky Stars City was killed. The Yu ancient clan definitely never expected that in such a short span of time, 1 out of their 10 teams was already completely wiped out. We're rich. Let's take all of their space rings away. We will split them half-half. The little white tiger said hurriedly. It had just grown and needed to replenish a large amount of energy. The space rings of those Yu ancient clan powerful figures would definitely have plenty of rare treasures. Chapter 1123 Demonic Creature 1 Yi Qingtang glanced at the little white tiger meaningfully. Before she could say anything, Ling Yan's voice was heard once again. Miss Yi, this place is not safe to stay long. Why? Yi Qingtang asked. Leave the city now and don't look back, Ling Yan said. Fuck you. This rich. It's easy for you to say. The little white tiger was full of grudges when it heard what Ling Yan said. Ling Yan was a prince and naturally did not lack valuable items, but it lacked many. However, before the little white tiger could finish its sentence, Yi Qingtang directly grabbed the little white tiger, which continued to complain incessantly, and dashed out of Sky Star City without looking back. The Blood Moon Elder followed after tightly when he saw Yi Qingtang leave. You're really leaving? The little white tiger glared at Yi Qingtang. As the little white tiger finished speaking, an extremely frightening overbearing force instantly enshrouded the entire Sky Star City. A pair of enormous eyes appeared in the sky, and black rays of light emerged in the eyes. Boom boom. The entire city shook tremendously. Outside the city, Yi Qingtang was shaken when she saw the owner of that pair of eyes. A pitch-black demonic creature near 100 meters tall was not wearing anything as it walked in the city slowly. With every step it took, the ground of Sky Stars City shook violently as though it was cracking apart. Looking at that enormous creature, the little white tiger could not help but swear. If it really remained in Sky Star City to search for its spoils of war just now, the little white tiger really had to give it to Ling Yan's brain. It silently turned to look at Yi Qingtang and said, What is that thing? Is it a monster? Yi Qingtang's brows were slightly furrowed, and she shook her head. The little white tiger could not help but turn around to look at that enormous, black monster in the city. No matter how its skills were, the visual impact was too shocking. A pair of eyes that were darker than the night contained destructive energy. Every inch of its skin seemed to have an explosive force. The creature, which was walking upright, hollered furiously. There were still many citizens who were alive in Sky Star City. When that enormous demonic creature appeared, the looming fear spread throughout the city rapidly. Everyone fled in all directions with their life. However, the human-looking demonic creature suddenly opened its mouth. As its mouth opened, A gust of wild wind swept into the city instantly. As the wild wind rushed in, the citizens who were fleeing away were instantly swept into the demonic creature's mouth. The cries of children, shrieks of ladies, laments of elderlies. All of these were mixed together at this moment, resembling a howl from hell and causing one to tremble with fear. The cries of fear and screams shattered everyone's eardrums. However, the miserable sounds ended very quickly, and a dead silence ensued. The 10,000+ people remaining in Sky Star's city were all swallowed by that human-looking demonic creature in the blink of an eye. A blood-curdling chewing sound reverberated in the surroundings as fresh blood gushed out of the demonic creature's mouth continuously. A roar erupted from that demonic creature subsequently. The moment its blood-filled mouth opened, fresh minced flesh could be seen in its mouth. Chapter 11:24 Demonic Creature 2. After witnessing this terrifying scene, even the little white tiger, a fiend celestial beast, was shocked. This is too scary. It was as though tens of thousands of citizens in Sky Star's city instantly became food for that demonic creature. The entire city turned into a living hell as an intense smell of blood enshrouded the city. The minced flesh mixed with blood continuously fell from the demonic creature's mouth to its legs. A half-eaten corpse of a child fell into a pile of blood with a thud. Only despair and fear from before he died could be seen on the child's originally innocent and pure face. As Yi Qingtang looked at the living hell before her eyes, her hands were clenched tightly into a fist, and there seemed to be a layer of fog in her eyes. She looked up slightly and looked at that human-looking demonic creature, which was walking upright. Even though there was a distance between her and that demonic creature, she could still clearly sense the dangerous aura around that demonic creature. Even with her young lord skills, it was impossible for her to have any chance of victory. Even if Yi Qingtang wished to save the people in Sky Star City, she did not have the power to do so. If she abruptly rushed into the city to save them, not only would she be unable to rescue anyone, she and the little white tiger would also lose their lives in the city. Yi Qingtang shut her eyes and took a deep breath, forcefully suppressing her anger, but the despair and wails echoed around her ears. Holy Lady, what exactly is that thing? This aura is too stifling. I even have problems breathing now. The Blood Moon Elder who fled out together felt that his breathing was a little hurried at this instant. Yi Qingtang opened her eyes slowly and forced herself to calm down. She automatically recalled that those Yu ancient clan senior executives mentioned Elder Enfo earlier on. Could it be that this demonic creature is the Elder Enfo that the Yu ancient clan people said? Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. The moment Yi Qingtang spoke, Blood Moon Elder's expression changed instantly. He raised his hand and pointed to one black, giant eye in Sky Star City. Holy Lady, this is bad. That giant eye moved slowly and landed straight on Yi Qingtang. TSK? At the same time, the human-looking demonic creature laughed sinisterly. Thump-sush. Energy rushed into the legs of the human-looking demonic creature, and its towering body jumped out of the city instantly with a terrifying smile on its face. Fuck you. Quickly run. The little white tiger looked at the human-looking demonic creature, which bolted towards them. It bared its fangs instantly, and its fur stood up. The extremely dangerous aura immediately caused the little white tiger to be in self-defense mode. Without the little white tiger's reminder, Yi Qingtang immediately fled away once she saw the demonic creature inching closer to them. Miss Yi, head to the next city immediately. Ling Yan's voice rang from the voice transmission stone again at the critical moment. What? Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. Currently, all the cities in the north were already conquered by the Yu ancient clan. She was now being chased after by a demonic creature. If she went there, wouldn't she be attacked from the front and the back? Chapter 11:25 Demonic Creature 3. Don't worry. Just do as I say. There's me, Ling Yan said softly. Before waiting for Yi Qingtang to speak, a bolt of power of karma rushed from the voice transmission stone to the sky. Yi Qingtang looked in the direction of the scarlet power of karma and saw that it had turned into a huge Buddha, and it was in a battle with the demonic creature. What is that? The Blood Moon Elder's expression changed as he looked at that Buddha with limitless might. Realistic illusion? Yi Qingtang looked at that huge Buddha statue and mumbled. In her previous life, Yi Qingtang once knew about an illusory spell called realistic illusion. The energy of the realistic illusion swung between reality and illusory. It could confuse one's mind and was extremely difficult to differentiate. She just witnessed the power of karma explode from the voice transmission stone and turn into a Buddha statue. That should be the realistic illusion, as the Buddha statue did not really exist and was merely transformed by illusory energy, as Yi Qingtang had understood. Leave quickly. Ling Yan's voice suddenly rang. Without hesitation, Yi Qingtang immediately brought the Blood Moon Elder and Little White Tiger and fled rapidly. On the other side, the human-looking demonic creature was blocked by the illusory Buddha statue and was fighting it without revealing any weak points. Yi Qingtang knew a little about Ling Yan's skills. He seemed to be able to divert his remarkable skill using his karmic bloodline from millions of miles away. They had Ling Yan to thank today. Otherwise, with Yi Qingtang and the Little White Tiger, it would be very difficult to fight against the human-looking demonic creature. Ling Yan, you can tell what's happening here? The Little White Tiger could not hold back and asked. That's right. Ling Yan's voice could be heard a long while later. No wonder, the Little White Tiger was in thought. Miss Yi, that demonic creature is one of the elders of your ancient clan and is called Een Fo. It is limited in my illusory spell right now. You can head to the city where Elder Een Fo was at and take it down, Ling Yan said. Ling Yan's words verified Yi Qingtang's guesses. Estimating the time that Elder Een Fo took to rush over for assistance, the city he was in was probably the city nearest to Sky Star City, Wind Cloud City. After the Yu ancient clan invaded the north, it conquered 10 cities, and each city was not too far away from each other. A while later, Yi Qingtang descended from the sky with Blood Moon Elder and the Little White Tiger and arrived outside Wind Cloud City. Be careful, holy lady. How about we investigate first and verify that this is the city conquered by that Elder Een Fo? Otherwise, if it's not and this city has another demonic creature guarding it, we will still die without a doubt. The Blood Moon Elder flashed an obsequious smile. Looking at the Blood Moon Elder's toady smile, Yi Qingtang nodded slightly and said, You're right. You'll go to investigate first then. They'll go? The smile on the Blood Moon Elder's face shattered completely. He pointed at himself with eyes popped wide and was completely dumbfounded. How he wished he could slap his mouth. Why did he blab for nothing? At the same time, in Sky Star City, the human-looking demonic creature let out a low roar and immediately charged towards the huge Buddha statue in front. Chapter 1126. A fight between formidable opponents, 1. But for some reason, that Buddha statue easily resolved all the attacks of that human-looking demonic creature. The human-looking demonic creature found it strange. Logically speaking, this Buddha statue was so powerful and could clearly kill it with the flick of a finger, but this Buddha statue's moves were not threatening. Before the demonic creature could think further, a cloud of blood appeared in the sky. A cold man in a long blood-colored robe was standing in the air. His white hair swayed in the wind, resembling a true god of this generation. The Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at the demonic creature coldly. Blockhead. Upon hearing that, the demonic creature looked above and was stunned when it saw the Blood Moon Holy Lord. Although this person was a young lord, his manner was extremely imposing and could even cause it to instinctively shift to self-defense mode. Blood Moon Holy Lord clenched his fist gently, and a boundless might enshrouded that Buddha statue. In the next second, the Buddha statue was shattered by the impact of the Blood Moon Holy Lord's overbearing aura and vanished. Can't you even tell that it's an illusory spell? Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at the demonic creature apathetically. Who are you? The demonic creature's malicious eyes met Blood Moon Holy Lord's indifferent eyes and roared sternly. My identity is not important. Blood Moon Holy Lord was emotionless, but his eyes suddenly looked at the direction where Yi Qingtang went to. Find that lady from before, and kill her is what you should do. Oh, you do? have a feud? The demonic creature stared at Blood Moon Holy Lord and asked inquisitively. You talk too much. A cold glint flashed across Blood Moon Holy Lord's eyes. Almost instantly, the demonic creature was repressed by Blood Moon Holy Lord's imposing manner. Boom boom. With an explosive sound, the demonic creature could not withstand the overbearing aura and lost its balance. Its knees fell onto the ground. How hateful! The demonic creature glared at Blood Moon Holy Lord furiously. This person's aura did not seem ordinary, but how could he only be at the Young Lord realm? You are so powerful. Why don't you kill that woman yourself? The demonic creature looked at Blood Moon Holy Lord and shouted angrily. It's none of your business. After saying that, Blood Moon Holy Lord retracted his aura. As the Blood Moon Holy Lord's aura dissipated, the demonic creature finally regained control of its own body and stood up slowly. Where is that lady? The demonic creature asked. So foolish. Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at the demonic creature and said coldly. After you left Wind Cloud City, she headed there. Hurry up and get the hell back. Then, Blood Moon Holy Lord disappeared in the air instantly. Humph! The demonic creature scoffed and rushed towards Wind Cloud City. Sky Star City had already lost one team, and if Wind Cloud City was also lost, the general would probably kill him. At that thought, the demonic creature roared furiously and ran at its fastest speed, disappearing in the blink of an eye. On a mountain in central mainland, Ling Yan opened his eyes immediately. Broke my illusory spell, Ling Yan mumbled thoughtfully. Interesting. Are you still unwilling to give up? Ling Yan's lips curled up slightly. What a pity though. Two can play at that game. Chapter 1127. A fight between formidable opponents. 2. The little azure dragon aside looked at Ling Yan and asked, Did that person appear? More or less. Ling Yan replied with a laugh. That's bad. The little azure dragon said, Do you have any means to deal with him? Let my shell meet him. How about that? Ling Yan looked at the little azure dragon and asked with a seeming smile. This is fine, but the shell does not have any thinking ability nor consciousness and only acts based on its instincts. How can you move it? The little azure dragon was rather perplexed. You're right. However, whose instincts does it have? Ling Yan's lips tugged up. Of course it's the instincts that you left behind, the little azure dragon replied. Since it is based on my instincts, the power of karma will do the job. Afterward, the karmic natal chart appeared, and the intense power of karma surged into the sky instantly. TSK. Ling Yan, you're actually doing so much for a girl. Could it be that you're really attracted to her? The little azure dragon looked at Ling Yan and could not refrain from teasing him. Before Ling Yan could say anything, the little azure dragon continued speaking. However, I must remind you that that person has appeared, and what he is about to do is not wrong actually. It's fine for you to stop him, but there's a pretext. And this pretext is that you must have absolute confidence to deal with the matters that Yi Qingtang will have to face after she survives. If Miss Yi dies, it's just another cycle. It's ultimately unavoidable. Compared to avoidance, I much prefer going against the heavens, said Ling Yan. I feel that, if Yi Qingtang dies. Nevertheless, before the little azure dragon could finish speaking, Ling Yan's gaze turned icy, and the little azure dragon could not help but shudder. I don't wish for you to say such things ever again. You understand? Ling Yan stared at the little azure dragon. Although there was a seeming smile on his face, his words seemed to be able to freeze everything in the world. Sigh. Man proposes, God disposes. Ling Yan, you've still fallen ultimately. So what even if you changed a shell? She and you are destined to have a doomed fate. It's a curse. The little azure dragon sighed. Ling Yan chuckled out of a sudden and said, I've always liked toying with and controlling fate. Have fate or heavenly Tao ever had the right to control me? Forget it. I believe in your intelligence more. I just hope that you can truly go against the heavens and change your fate. The little azure dragon said. The northern region of the mainland, outside Wind Cloud City. The Blood Moon Elder descended from the sky while panting and hurriedly looked at Yi Qingting. Holy Lady, I've checked. That demonic creature should be the guard of this wind cloud city. The most powerful person in this city now is only about Yin Yang perfected Lord's sixth heaven or so. We can massacre the city. Good. Upon hearing that, Yi Qingtang nodded and charged into Wind Cloud City with the Blood Moon Elder and Little White Tiger. The situation of Wind Cloud City was worse than that of Sky Star City. Millions of lives were already devoured by that demonic creature, with only you ancient clan people remaining. Time was limited. Without holding back, Yi Qingtang activated her Phoenix bloodline and ultimate origin skill to the maximum. Her body turned into a blazing flame, and all you ancient clan people in sight were slaughtered. In just an hour, the hundreds of you ancient clan powerful figures and disciples were all slain by Yi Qingti. Chapter 1128. A Fight Between Formidable Opponents. 3. Holy Lady, leave me a body. Blood Moon Elder saw that Yi Qingtang had killed all the Yu ancient clan senior executives and was about to weep. Although those senior executives only had a martial cultivation base of Yin Yang perfected Lord's sixth heaven on this mainland, it was only so because they were poisoned and the thin spirit energy on this mainland restricted their ability. If they were back at the central mainland, they were at least at the second stage divine arcane supremacy of the arcane supremacy realm. There's limited time. Yi Qingtang looked at the Blood Moon Elder. If that demonic creature rushed back, they would probably die here, and there would be no time for the Blood Moon Elder to possess a body. Holy Lady, you must leave me with one the next time. Looks, height, and age are not important. The only two conditions are for it to be a male and a powerful figure. I will not be greedy for more, the Blood Moon Elder said with a face full of smiles. Why are you so troublesome? Just possess anybody. So many requests. The Little White Tiger shot the Blood Moon Elder an eye. The Blood Moon Elder's lips twitched slightly when he heard the Little White Tiger. Had he completely become a woman in the eyes of this fiend celestial beast now? Die, all must die. Before waiting for the Blood Moon Elder to retort, a furious roar could be heard from outside Wind Cloud City. Yi Qingtang and the rest looked outside the city immediately. The human-looking demonic creature was back at Wind Cloud City. The illusory spell was broken. Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. Even a powerful human might not be able to escape from the high-level illusory spell that Ling Yan set using the power of karma, much less a demonic creature with a low spiritual sense. Given Yi Qingtang's calculations previously, it would take at least several hours for this demonic creature to see through Ling Yan's illusory spell, but only how much time had passed. Ling Yan, your illusory spell was broken so quickly? Yi Qingtang asked through the voice transmission stone. However, there was no response from the voice transmission stone at all. Ling Yan. Yi Qingtang called once again, but there was still no response. This damn Ling Yan actually dropped the ball at the critical moment. Unreliable. The Little White Tiger said. Without Ling Yan, how could they stop that demonic creature? Boom! Boom! At this instant, the human-looking demonic creature descended from the sky. Unable to bear the massive weight, the ground cracked instantly. Gusts of wild wind were stirred up as though a disaster had arrived. Yi Qingtang and the Blood Moon Elder retreated backward unsteadily. The demonic creature immediately scanned Wind Cloud City, and his eyes dilated when he saw that hundreds of you ancient clan people were killed. How? General will not let me off. General will be punished by the commander. General will kill me. The demonic creature roared to the sky in rage. Blood Moon Elder was alarmed. The human-looking demonic creature before them was already so frighteningly powerful. It was still so fearful of the so-called general, as though the general could kill it with just a thought. And what shocked the Blood Moon Elder the most was that above the general, there was still a commander. Exactly how big and powerful was this Yu ancient clan? How many powerful figures came? Chapter 1129. Kill her. 1. Looking at the demonic creature which chased up to them, Yi Qingtang calmed herself down and asked, "I'm curious as to how you broke the realistic illusion so quickly." The demonic creature was inches away from them now, and it was unrealistic for them to escape from Wind Cloud City. Since there was no way out, they could only fight with their lives. "Someone who wants your life? Who did you offend? Are you not aware?" The demonic creature glared at Yi Qingtang and said coldly, "Someone wants my life." Yi Qingtang was stunned by what the demonic creature had said. What did it mean? Die! The demonic creature roared. A wild wind was raked up, and a frightening demonic aura enshrouded the entire city. Swoosh! Yi Qingtang would not wait for her death. She activated the power of her divine phoenix bloodline to the maximum and slashed her sword at the demonic creature. However, that scarlet sword gleam with incredible destructive force only left a negligible scratch on that demonic creature's huge body. Perfect defense? Yi Qingtang was taken aback when she saw that the demonic creature was completely unharmed. This human-looking demonic creature's skin was like hard metal that simply could not be penetrated or destroyed. The demonic creature's perfect defense was unrelated to its cultivation realm and seemed to be a natural gift. Before Yi Qingtang could think further, the demonic creature threw a punch out at the speed of lightning. Almost instinctively, Yi Qingtang used her sword to block the blow. Boom! It was like a thunderous explosion. Yi Qingtang was flung hundreds of meters away by the blow, shattering several buildings in Wind Cloud City. Roar! The little white tiger roared furiously and charged towards the demonic creature. However, before it could get close, it was also hurled away by the demonic creature's punch. So damn painful. The little white tiger complained incessantly after landing on the ground, but it seemed to recall something and immediately stood up. But it isn't that painful. My defense became stronger. Holy lady! The Blood Moon Elder flew to Yi Qingtang's side hurriedly and helped her up. Whatever weird species that this demonic creature was, its strength and defense was close to perfect and was unrestricted by the martial realm. Even though it was in this mainland, its strength and defense were on par with an arcane supremacy and simply could not be fought against. Yi Qingtang's face was pale, and blood seeped out from the corners of her lips. She frowned and grunted at the Blood Moon Elder. Quick, flee. This demonic creature was too powerful, and even she was not its opponent. If Blood Moon Elder did not flee now, he would definitely die. Holy lady! What are you saying? How can I abandon you and flee for my life at this time? Blood Moon Elder shook his head repeatedly. Blood Moon Elder had interacted with Yi Qingtang daily for more than 1 year, and they had been through so many things together. Their relationship was already beyond the restrictions of life and death. The Blood Moon Elder clenched his teeth. Even at this critical moment where their lives and deaths were concerned, Yi Qingtang only wanted him to escape quickly. Oh, he must die! The demonic creature roared in fury, and a huge fist was thrown powerfully toward Yi Qingtang. However, before the demonic creature could act, a shadow flashed across the air. Boom, boom! All of a sudden, a blaring sound exploded in the air. Chapter 1130, Kill Her, 2. A cold-looking man that was as elegant as a god suddenly appeared beside Yi Qingtang. He suddenly stuck a finger out and directly blocked the demonic creature's powerful punch. When Yi Qingtang took a clear look at that man's face, she was instantly taken aback. Han Songming, why was he here? Swoosh! Without seeing how Han Songming moved, a sword gleam flashed by and pierced through the demonic creature's body. The moment the sword gleam flashed by, the demonic creature let out a miserable wail, and its body fell forward, causing a deep dent on the ground. Afterward, Han Songming turned around and looked at Yi Qingtang. It was just eye contact, but Yi Qingtang's body stiffened. In the next second, however, Yi Qingtang felt a trace of familiarity in Han Kangming's gaze. Every time she saw Han Songming previously, his eyes were extremely cold as though there was not the slightest warmth in it. However, for some reason today, there was actually a subtle difference. Han Songming was slightly confused as he looked at Yi Qingtang, whom he had not seen for a long time. He was originally on his way to Central Mainland, But for some reason, his thoughts seemed to be invaded by something, and he returned to this mainland. Even Han Sangming himself was unsure why he returned. It was just that he instinctively thought that this seemed to be what he should do. "Oh, you finally appeared." Suddenly, a blood-colored swirl formed in the air. In the next second, the Blood Moon Holy Lord appeared before Yi Qingtang and the rest. "Younger brother?" Yi Qingtang was perplexed when she saw Blood Moon Holy Lord. What was it with today? First came Antiquity Palace's Palace Lord, Han Sangming, and then even her cheapskate younger brother, the Blood Moon Holy Lord, appeared afterward. If these two were here to save this mainland, Yi Qingtang would be glad to have two more incredible helpers. But given the current situation, Yi Qingtang vaguely sensed that something was off. "Holy Lord!" The Blood Moon Elder immediately bowed at Blood Moon Holy Lord. The Blood Moon Holy Lord's eyes passed by Yi Qingtang quietly, and a trace of emotion seemed to flash by in the depth of his eyes. When he looked up again, he told the Blood Moon Elder coldly, "Kill that person." "Holy Lord, you want me to kill him?" Blood Moon Elder was startled and instinctively thought that Blood Moon Holy Lord was instructing him to attack Han Sangming, who appeared a while before. The Blood Moon Elder had goosebumps when he took a look at Han Sangming. Before the Blood Moon Elder spoke again, Blood Moon Holy Lord suddenly raised a hand, and his slender fingers pointed at Yi Qingtang. "The person I want you to kill is her." Blood Moon Holy Lord's words stunned both Blood Moon Elder and Yi Qingtang. What was going on? "Kill Holy Lady? Holy Lord, why do you want to kill Holy Lady?" Blood Moon Elder was extremely shocked by Blood Moon Holy Lord's instructions. He could not believe it. Holy Lord actually wanted him to kill Holy Lady. "Why? Are you questioning me?" Blood Moon Holy Lord said without emotions. But Blood Moon Elder gritted his teeth. "Holy Lord, I cannot follow your orders. Furthermore, I am not Holy Lattice's opponent." Blood Moon Elder did not know what Holy Lord wanted him to kill Holy Lady, but if he really had to make a choice between Blood Moon Holy Lord and Holy Lady. "Even if I can defeat Holy Lady, I will not do it." Blood Moon Elder gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. Swoosh. As the Blood Moon Elder finished his sentence, the Blood Moon Holy Lord raised his right arm slightly, and a red gleam penetrated Blood Moon Elder's glabella instantly. Just as Blood Moon Holy Lord was about to attack, Han Sangming took a step forward and dispelled that red gleam with the wave of a hand. "Han Sangming, why do you want to be in my way?" Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at Han Sangming coldly. A hint of confusion could be seen on Han Kangming's face. He did not know why either, but it was as though all of this was a given and that was what he should do. "I did not look for you, and you came to offer yourself instead. This is good too though." As Blood Moon Holy Lord spoke, he turned into a blood-colored shadow and flew towards Han Sangming. In just a moment, Han Sangming and Blood Moon Holy Lord were locked in a battle dozens of miles away. Blood Moon Elder still had not recovered from the shock at this moment and looked at Yi Qingtang. "Holy Lady, you betray Holy Lord?" "Betray?" Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. When had she ever betrayed Blood Moon Holy Lord? Ever since the war at Xianling Sect, she had never seen Blood Moon Holy Lord at all. What betrayal could there be? Furthermore, she did not do anything over this period of time. Yi Qingtang could not understand what outrageous thing she did for her cheapskate brother to want to suddenly kill her. The Blood Moon Elder understood when he saw Yi Qingtang's confused expression. He more or less knew what Yi Qingtang had done over this period of time, and she indeed did not do anything that betrayed the Blood Moon Holy Lord and the Blood Moon Sect. Furthermore, although Yi Qingtang was Blood Moon Sect's Holy Lady, she had not much connection with Blood Moon Sect in reality, and there was no such chance to betray it even if she wanted to. But why did Holy Lord? The more Blood Moon Elder thought about it, the more confused he was. A thought suddenly struck Yi Qingtang. She looked at the severely injured demonic creature on the ground. When this demonic creature chased after them earlier on, it said that someone wanted her life, and Yi Qingtang thought that the demonic creature was perhaps referring to someone from the Yu ancient clan. But thinking about it now, It did not make much sense as that demonic creature was a member of the Yu ancient clan after all. Could it be that the person that the demonic creature said was the Blood Moon Holy Lord? It was the Blood Moon Holy Lord who helped it to break Ling Yan's realistic illusion, as he wanted to kill her with the demonic creature. Thinking of it now, perhaps only the Blood Moon Holy Lord could easily break the realistic illusion with his skills. However, Yi Qingtang could not understand why the Blood Moon Holy Lord suddenly wanted to take her life. If the Blood Moon Holy Lord wished to kill her, he could have easily done so when they first met a long time ago. Why did he have to wait until this day? Moreover, Yi Qingtang faintly sensed that although Blood Moon Holy Lord wanted to kill her, he seemed to be unwilling to do it himself. Regardless of giving the demonic creature a chance to kill her or ordering Blood Moon Elder to do so, it seemed that he wanted to kill her through others. Given his skills, it was clearly simpler for him to kill her himself. Yi Qingtang found the situation increasingly strange. Furthermore, judging from the reactions of Blood Moon Holy Lord and Han Sangming, it seemed that they knew each other as well. What exactly was going on? More and more questions flooded Yi Qingtang's mind, and it was probable that she would not be able to understand the current situation in a short time. Chapter 1132, This is Impossible, 1. Since that was the case, Yi Qingtang stopped thinking about it and took out a pill from her space ring to consume. In a few breaths' time, her complexion was finally better. Currently, Han Sangming and Blood Moon Holy Lord were fighting outside the city, and she was pretty safe in the meantime. Yi Qingtang first looked at the demonic creature and then at the Blood Moon Elder. When Blood Moon Elder refused to carry out the Blood Moon Holy Lord's orders earlier on, Yi Qingtang was a little touched. Yi Qingtang immediately looked at the Blood Moon Elder and spoke. "Oh right, didn't you want to possess a male powerful figure? There is one here. Time is limited. You must hurry." Blood Moon Elder was stunned after hearing Yi Qingtang, and he followed Yi Qingtang's gaze. His lips twitched when he saw that the person that Yi Qingtang was pointing to was actually the demonic creature on the ground. Was she freaking kidding? Although he was a woman currently, he was at least a human. Now, he could not even be a human anymore. What the hell is this thing? Can it be possessed? Holy Lady, this place is not safe to stay for long. Let's retreat quickly. Blood Moon Elder held onto Yi Qingtang and wanted to leave without uttering a word about the possession, acting as though he did not hear Yi Qingtang at all. If this demonic creature returned back to the outside world, it is at least in the arcane supremacy realm. It may even be in the heavenly venerate realm. In addition, it has perfect defense and strength. Yi Qingtang mumbled as though she was talking to herself. Blood Moon Elder immediately stopped in his tracks, and he looked at Yi Qingtang after thinking for a while. Holy Lady, it's not important whether it is powerful or not. The main thing is that I like this body as it is very manly and domineering. I like it. However, before Yi Qingtang could continue to speak, a blood-colored shadow suddenly leaped towards them and appeared beside Yi Qingtang in a flash. Younger brother, Yi Qingtang frowned deeply as she looked at the Blood Moon Holy Lord, who was inches away. Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at Yi Qingtang coldly as though he had no emotion. In the next second, Blood Moon Holy Lord's overpowering aura instantly enshrouded Yi Qingtang. "What are you doing this for?" Yi Qingtang asked under the pressure of the Blood Moon Holy Lord's overwhelming aura. Yi Qingtang believed things should not be as such between her and the Blood Moon Holy Lord and was all the more unclear why he wanted to kill her. Instead of facing suffering and misery in the future, why not just die earlier? The Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at Yi Qingtang and said coldly. Yi Qingtang was slightly shaken. What was the meaning behind those words? "Holy Lord, please pardon Holy Lady." Suddenly, Blood Moon Elder kneeled beside Blood Moon Holy Lord. However, Blood Moon Holy Lord did not spare him an eye. "Don't blame me." Blood Moon Holy Lord raised his right arm, and a blood-colored bolt of lightning emerged in his palm. However, before the Blood Moon Holy Lord could take any action, the Blood Moon Elder suddenly grabbed the Blood Moon Holy Lord's legs. "Holy Lady, quickly run." The Blood Moon Elder turned to look at Yi Qingtang and shouted loudly. Then, The Blood Moon Holy Lord looked askance at the Blood Moon Elder and enshrouded him in his boundless aura. Holy Lady, quickly escape. Blood Moon Elder saw that Yi Qingtang did not react and shouted again. Chapter 1133. This is impossible. 2. Before Yi Qingtang could speak, Han Kangming's body flashed by, and he grabbed the Blood Moon Holy Lord's shoulder from the back before hurling him several hundred meters away. Are you very anxious? Han Songming looked at the Blood Moon Holy Lord and asked. Blood Moon Holy Lord floated in the air and replied coldly. We can continue slowly after I deal with her. Han Songming did not utter a word and rammed his fist towards the Blood Moon Holy Lord. Seeing that he could not get past Han Songming, the Blood Moon Holy Lord could only accept the battle. Boom boom. 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 Deafening explosions filled the air as though a calamity was impending. Two shadows, one red and one white, interlaced and created ripples in the air. Holy Lady, quickly leave. Blood Moon Elder immediately grabbed Yi Qingtang and dashed forward. However, before they could run far, a virtual image of an elderly appeared before them. The appearance of that elderly was exactly the same as the Blood Moon Elder's original looks. The Blood Moon Elder was stunned when he saw the elderly who looked exactly the same as his original self. Have you forgotten your mission? The elderly asked coldly. It was as though his voice penetrated through the netherworld and reached them. Who are you? Why do you look like me? Blood Moon Elder asked furiously. Who am I? The virtual elderly snickered. You're merely a split self of me. But did you even forget about this? Blood Moon Elder shuddered when he heard what the elderly said, and disbelief filled his eyes. What was this person saying? He actually said that he was only a split self. Even Yi Qingtang was stunned. Your existence is to be loyal to Blood Moon Holy Lord. Now that you wish to betray the Blood Moon Holy Lord, I'm afraid there's no need for your existence anymore, the virtual elderly said without emotions. Yi Qingtang sized up the virtual elderly in the air and frowned slightly. This image of the elderly was formed using pure mental energy. His original self should be far away, and he used mental energy to enter this place. However, to possess such frightening mental energy and be able to execute a remarkable skill that crossed space, this elderly's true cultivation base was at least above the heavenly venerate realm. It was even possible he was even a holy venerate. I am your split self. Who are you kidding? Blood Moon Elder stared at the virtual elderly in the air and shouted furiously. He was no one but himself, a real and existing independent body. How could he be someone else's split self? Oh! After hearing what the Blood Moon Elder said, the virtual elderly snickered. Since you're so sure that you are not a split self, do you have any memories from when you were young? This Blood Moon Elder was shocked, and he tried his best to recall his youth, but to no avail, as though he had no youth at all. No wonder. You have already died once, and your true memories should be forgotten already. Since that's the case, let me help you to recall your identity. As the virtual elderly finished his sentence, endless mental energy immediately enshrouded the Blood Moon Elder. Many scenes appeared in the Blood Moon Elder's mind almost instantly. The Blood Moon Elder was astonished. He finally recalled his identity. Just as what that virtual elderly had said, the Blood Moon Elder was actually really just a split self of that elderly. Chapter 1134. This is impossible. 3. 8,000 years ago, he was manifested by the elderly to follow and serve the Blood Moon Holy Lord for eternity without betrayal. They came to this mainland to search for a lady, and it was said that that lady was the reincarnation of the Heavenly Emperor's wife. Once the Heavenly Emperor's wife reincarnated and appeared, they were to kill her. This was the only purpose of their existence. However, time passed, and the reincarnation had yet to appear. 1,000 years caused them to gradually forget their initial memories. Blood Moon Holy Lord, Blood Moon Elder quivered slightly. Holy Lord is the mental manifestation of the Heavenly Emperor. I am a split self of the Heavenly Emperor's warrior. The purpose of our existence is to kill. Blood Moon Elder trembled even more intensely, and the last few words were trapped in his mouth. Just as he was about to say them, his eyes landed straight on Yi Qingtang. Why is it you? Why is the person to kill? What are you saying? Yi Qingtang was filled with surprise as she looked at the Blood Moon Elder. It seems that you finally recalled your mission. The virtual elderly looked at the Blood Moon Elder and said without emotions, "Since that's the case, what are you still waiting for? This lady is heavily injured. Kill her now and your mission is considered completed." The purpose of my existence. The Blood Moon Elder trembled as he looked at Yi Qingtang. The very purpose of his existence was to wait for the lady before him to be born and then kill her. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice ever since I exist in this world. The Blood Moon Elder's eyes dimmed gradually as though there was no warmth, and he approached Yi Qingtang slowly. When he was just several inches away from Yi Qingtang, the Blood Moon Elder suddenly turned around and slashed his sword at the elderly in the air. However, the elderly was manifested by pure mental energy, and the Blood Moon Elder's attack did not harm the elderly at all. On what basis do I not have any choice? The Blood Moon Elder's eyes were suddenly bright as he shouted sternly. I have my own thinking, experiences, emotions, and memory. I'm completely independent. Why do I need to be instructed by you? On what basis should I be an insignificant split self of you? If I can kill you, I can replace you. The virtual elderly was aloof when he heard the Blood Moon Elder and scoffed loudly. You're merely my split self. How dare you betray me and even think of replacing me? Forget it, since this is so, there's no point for you to exist anymore. Disappear. The virtual elderly raised his arm gently. As the elderly moved, the Blood Moon Elder uttered a piercing scream as though his spirit was experiencing unbearable torment. From afar, Yi Qingtang frowned at the situation before her. At her peak, she was once a holy venerate and naturally knew how to collect a split self back. All there was to do was to use one's own mental energy to invade into the split self's body. Evidently, that elderly wanted to collect the Blood Moon Elder's split self back at this moment. Chapter 1135. Protect One. Holy Lady. The veins on Blood Moon Elder's forehead popped up as he looked at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang walked forward, and a black demonic aura spiraled around her. The energy of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline was activated to the maximum. Yi Qingtang placed a hand on Blood Moon Elder's left shoulder and used the energy of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline to devour the elderly's mental energy. Cooperate with me. Release all your mental energy. Yi Qingtang looked at Blood Moon Elder grimly. Okay, Blood Moon Elder nodded repeatedly. Without any defense from the Blood Moon Elder, Yi Qingtang's heavenly demon-devouring bloodline invaded into Blood Moon Elder's mental level easily and fully guarded his mental energy fully with her bloodline. As long as that virtual elderly's mental energy invaded in, Yi Qingtang's bloodline energy could devour it, and thus, the Blood Moon Elder could remain safe and not disappear. The moment Yi Qingtang guarded the Blood Moon Elder's mental energy, an impressive amount of mental energy suddenly rushed from that virtual image of the elderly to the Blood Moon Elder. In just a moment, the Blood Moon Elder's body seemed to have suffered a huge impact and trembled uncontrollably. Yi Qingtang's eyes darkened, and her grip on the Blood Moon Elder's shoulder tightened. That surge of mental energy wanted to invade into Blood Moon Elder's mind aggressively, but just as it filled him, the heavenly demon bloodline that Yi Qingtang injected into the Blood Moon Elder's mental level was immediately activated. In the blink of an eye, the surging mental energy was completely devoured by Yi Qingtang's heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. The elderly, who was originally waiting to collect his split self back, was surprised by the situation. He clearly felt that the mental energy he released earlier on was entirely devoured by a force in a moment. Instinctively, the elderly looked at Yi Qingtang, who was beside the Blood Moon Elder. Could it be that she devoured my mental energy? The elderly was uncertain, but he intensified the mental energy needed to collect the Blood Moon Elder back. Yet, no matter the extent that he increased by All the mental energy that entered the Blood Moon Elder's body was completely devoured by that mysterious force in no time. What is going on? The elderly frowned slightly as confusion filled his eyes. Yi Qingtang looked up at the elderly with eyes blazing with anger. As long as I exist, you can dream on about collecting him back. The elderly was stunned. It's you who devoured my mental energy? That's right. Yi Qingtang admitted. Surprise flashed across the elderly's eyes. Never had he thought that Yi Qingtang actually had the ability to devour all of his mental energy. However, he was just a virtual image formed by mental energy, and the majority of its mental energy was devoured by Yi Qingtang already. There was insufficient energy to sustain this virtual image, much less collect back the Blood Moon Elder. The elderly in the air looked at Yi Qingtang in worry and sighed. Holy lady, what did you call me? Yi Qingtang's brows furrowed slightly when she heard the familiar form of address from that elderly. Chapter 1136, Protect 2. Don't be shocked. I share the same memory as my split self. I feel the same as how he feels to you, the virtual elderly sighed. Yi Qingtang was a holy venerate in her previous life, and she naturally knew that the split self's senses, emotions, and even memory could be shared with the original self. Plainly speaking, the Blood Moon Elder and this elderly were actually the same person. Holy lady, fighting alongside you over this period of time is a rare experience, the virtual elderly continued saying. Especially when I tried being a lady. However, no matter what, you must die. Being alive in itself is a cruel thing for you. What are you trying to say? Yi Qingtang looked at that elderly questioningly as she felt that he seemed to know something. You're merely taking that old route once again. It was with Heavenly Emperor in the last life. Perhaps it is the demon god this lifetime. However, you won't have any good outcome regardless. Instead of suffering endless torment and then dying, why not die earlier? The virtual elderly said. Demon god. Yi Qingtang was startled when she heard the elderly mention the demon god. She had no relations with the demon god originally, but because of the heart in her body that was known by everyone as the heart of the demon god, everyone was after her life throughout her entire previous life. Now, this elderly mentioned the demon god and seemed to imply that she had some connections with the demon god. Yi Qingtang found it bizarre. However, Yi Qingtang took a deep breath and scoffed. What a joke! What is meant by a cycle and taking the old route? I don't know what you're saying, but there is one thing that I am very clear of. Yi Qingtang looked up slightly. Her eyes were determined and bright. My life is in my own hands. No one shall think of controlling my fate. The elderly in the air shook his head. Actually, the elderly was unaware of what exactly happened to Yi Qingtang and merely trusted the Heavenly Emperor unconditionally. Since the Heavenly Emperor wanted her life, he must have his own reasons. In the eyes of the elderly, the Heavenly Emperor's words were the only truth in this world. Regardless of the reason behind the Heavenly Emperor's actions, the elderly would support him unconditionally. Alright, since you insist on protecting this split self, so be it then. The elderly sized up Yi Qingtang and disappeared slowly until he was completely gone. His mental energy was almost depleted, and this virtual image could no longer be sustained. Thus, he could only leave for now. When he noticed that the elderly disappeared, the tensed-up Blood Moon Elder finally sighed in relief, although it was evident that he still had not recovered from the shock. He turned to look at Yi Qingtang in gratitude and spoke. Thank you. Thank you, holy lady. Seeing that the elderly had left, Yi Qingtang removed her hand from the Blood Moon Elder's shoulder. The serious expression in her eyes faded away and was replaced by a meaningful look as she sized up the Blood Moon Elder. I never thought that. You're actually a split self. The Blood Moon Elder froze when he heard Yi Qingtang and replied immediately. Although I am a split self, I've long forgotten that I am a split self already. I think that I should be the original self. Unless you can personally kill him as you said just now. Otherwise, you will always be a split self. Yi Qingtang discouraged the Blood Moon Elder bluntly. Chapter 1137, Possession, 1. If a split self wanted to become the true original self, the only option was to personally destroy the original self. Otherwise, it would remain as a split self forever. Humph. There'll be one day where I take revenge for today and kill him. The Blood Moon Elder scoffed as his eyes twinkled continuously. Yi Qingtang's lips twitched slightly after hearing the Blood Moon Elder. The elderly's martial skills were immeasurable, and even in her peak in her previous life, she might not be able to defeat that elderly. Allow me to remind you that your original self is very likely a holy venerate, Yi Qingtang said candidly. Holy venerate? The Blood Moon Elder's expression changed instantly, but it only lasted for a moment as he returned to his previous fierce expression. Humph. So what if he is a holy venerate? As long as I can kill him personally, all of his will be mine, and I will become a holy venerate as well. Then, the Blood Moon Elder suddenly changed the direction of his discourse and said, however, thinking about it carefully, I exist because of him. Forget it. I will be compassionate and spare his life. Yi Qingtang stared blankly at the Blood Moon Elder. When has this Blood Moon Elder ever been compassionate? Now that he had changed his stance, it was probably because he learned of that elderly's holy venerate cultivation base, and was frightened. Yi Qingtang was already used to the Blood Moon Elder's flexibility, according to the situation, and merely cast him a look plainly without saying anything. She directly led the Blood Moon Elder to the demonic creature's side and pushed him towards it. Don't say any more bullshit. Quickly possess it. This opportunity was rare. Han Sangming and Blood Moon Holy Lord seemed to have a feud, and no one knew where they had battled to. Blood Moon Elder looked at the demonic creature on the ground with a complicated expression. However, he abandoned his last principle and immediately moved forward to use his mental energy to invade the demonic creature's body. Who cares if it was human or not? If he still did not work hard to become more powerful, he would be killed by that old original self. However big the world was, his life was the most important thing. Blood Moon Elder had thought it through, but after a long while later, he panted heavily and was sweating profusely. He looked at Yi Qingtang dejectedly and said, Holy Lady, I can't do it. This demonic creature's mental energy is too strong. Given my current level, it's simply impossible to break through his mental defense. What the hell is this? He had already given up his rights to become human, but there was still such an obstacle. Yi Qingtang nodded. This was reasonable. It was easy for a high-level powerful figure to possess a low-level cultivator, but if a low-level cultivator wanted to possess the body of a high-level figure, it was almost impossible. Suddenly, Yi Qingtang raised her right arm, and a pitch-black flame floated in her palm. Before Blood Moon Elder's eyes, Yi Qingtang waved her hand gently and threw that destructive flame onto the demonic creature. At the same time, the demonic creature shrieked in pain as though it was a cry from the depth of his soul. The demonic creature was heavily injured and had lost all combat ability. Thus, it had no way of blocking Yi Qingtang's black flame. Yi Qingtang immediately looked at Blood Moon Elder and said, Continue. All right. Blood Moon Elder nodded and then used the power of his spirit to invade into the demonic creature's body. Chapter 1138, Possession, 2. It's a pity. It's still short by a little. But compared to before, this demonic creature's mental defense is much weaker, the Blood Moon Elder said. Upon hearing that, Yi Qingtang continued to increase the amount and density of the black flame, causing the demonic creature to lose control of his mind. 15 minutes later, the Blood Moon Elder fell onto the ground with a pale complexion. It's so painful. The demonic creature slowly stood up from the ground and let out a deafening roar that resembled explosive thunder in the sky. Witnessing this, Yi Qingtang slowly retracted all her black flames as the Blood Moon Elder had clearly succeeded in the possession. I can't anymore. It's so painful. The Blood Moon Elder howled continuously. Yi Qingtang was calm to the wailing Blood Moon Elder and shrugged slightly. The demonic creature was already severely injured prior to this and was burned by Yi Qingtang's black flame when it was defenseless. Now that the Blood Moon Elder succeeded in possessing it, he was fully bonded with the demonic creature's body. It would be weird if he did not feel pain. Eat this. Yi Qingtang took out a bottle of healing elixir from her space ring and tossed it to Blood Moon Elder. After getting hold of it, the Blood Moon Elder poured all of its contents down his throat. However, this healing elixir did not seem to be effective on his new body and could only relieve a slight amount of the excruciating pain all over his body. Yi Qingtang's healing elixir was merely targeted towards yin-yang perfected lord figures, while this demonic creature's skills were way beyond the yin-yang perfected lord realm. Thus, this elixir did not have any special use for the Blood Moon Elder. The Blood Moon Elder sat on the ground cross-legged and used his own powers to heal himself. It had to be said that not only did this demonic creature's body possess perfect defense, but its healing powers were extremely shocking as well. In less than an hour, it had already healed 30 to 40%. Puff, the Blood Moon Elder panted heavily. Holy Lady, this demonic creature's body is really insanely powerful. It's good that you like it. Yi Qingtang looked at the Blood Moon Elder and chuckled. Blood Moon Elder immediately checked himself out and eventually wore a helpless expression. Apart from powerful skills, he was nothing at all. Oh right. Holy Lady, I think that I can hide in the Yu ancient clan, Blood Moon Elder suddenly whispered to Yi Qingtang. After hearing that, Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. Although this was a good idea, it was too risky. If Yu ancient clan grew suspicious, the Blood Moon Elder would be in an extremely dangerous situation. It's too risky, Yi Qingtang said after contemplation. Holy Lady, this mainland is about to be wiped out, and I view myself as a part of this mainland. If the Yu ancient clan had their way, all living beings on this mainland would die. It is extremely dangerous no matter where we are. Instead, it is better to initiate a strike. If I conceal myself in the Yu ancient clan, at least we can obtain information on the Yu ancient clan and their next step. It is easier to fight them this way. The Blood Moon Elder said rather agitatedly. Looking at the Blood Moon Elder's persistence, Yi Qingtang, however, felt like laughing. Tracing back to when they first met, who would have thought that there would be a day where the once brutal Blood Moon Elder would actually sacrifice himself for the common people? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.